in. And after a couple months planning, the event was given a date, Saturday, May 23rd, a dance party to celebrate Sean O'Brien. As the days closed in on the date of the party, Sean O'Brien was flown from the United Kingdom to the United States by the Dance Free movement. And of course he knew he was being thrown a party, but it's unlikely that he knew that it was going to be this badass of a party.
London man who was initially mocked online for his dance move is now dancing up a storm here in Los Angeles tonight.
There's a packed house inside celebrating him, supporting him, and anyone else who's ever been bullied. The LA efforts raised $70,000 that will go to anti-bullying and positive body image programs in the US and UK. Organizers will be posting new pictures of O'Brien dancing, maybe even sending a message to those who want monitoring.
If I knew who they were, I would just invite them to come and dance, because I think that the kind of people who are doing these things, they're probably in a lot of pain themselves.
The kindness and everything. It's overwhelming, it really is overwhelming. See you all here tonight. It's just phenomenal, and I can only say thanks to everyone. You're all special, you're all making it's going to really make it a special night. And just enjoy, smile, dance, and wake up in the morning and think, that was a good night.
I have 3,000 gold, goddamn.
The event was a complete success, and you have to admit, putting all this together, it was a powerful statement. I mean, imagine a situation, what if instead of Sean, this was like some little kid, and their photo was posted, and it became this cyberbullying thing, which got spread around, and he became a living meme, and it like ruined his life.
I'm not laughing at the video.
It's good to know, in a hypothetical situation like that, that there are people online who would actually have your back and fight for you. While it doesn't happen as often as it should, sometimes a captivating video or set of photos can disrupt the often cynical and vitriolic attitude of the internet and galvanize folks to stand up for something good. Which is what I think we had happen here. I mean, even the users of the infamous 4chan message boards knew that this was jacked up, and they immediately came to Sean's defense when these photos were posted. And going off of that, despite what many articles about this story would like you to think, 4chan wasn't the villain in this case. In fact, Sean wouldn't have gotten the support he did if it wasn't for the members of the page initially stepping to his defense and spreading the story to other outlets. Without the well-intentioned 4chan users, Cassandra and the other people likely never would have heard about this at all. The anti-bullying statement never would have been made. Ironically, one of the most famous body positivity events was sparked because someone went too far in a fat-shaming thread on 4chan. And don't misconstrue what I'm saying here, I don't think we should have more fat-shaming threads, I just thought that was interesting. As for Sean himself, well, after the party, he returned back to his normal life, likely touched by the show of support he received from the ladies who organized his party and the kind messages from the internet denizens around the world. An update on his Instagram page in 2017 sums up how impactful the whole experience was for him. 2 years ago today, I was lucky enough to meet these four and create the most unlikely friendships I may have imagined. My life will never be the same because of it. Love you all. And as for the 4chan user that posted the images that started all of this, well, they remain anonymous to this day, never once commenting publicly on the event. It would be interesting to hear what this person has to say about the party. Would they apologize or double down? I reckon we'll never know. But what's certain is that his post inadvertently led to one of the internet's most wholesome community efforts. A real middle finger to bullies out there. The dancing man was redeemed. One of the most famous living meme-styled characters in history is the Troll-a-Lol guy, aka Edward Kill. Known across 4chan, Reddit, and YouTube for its widely beloved trolling anthem, few are actually aware of the deeply emotional tale behind this band's ascension to memehood and viral fame. From World War II battlefields to international music stages, this is the story of Mr. Trollolo, aka Edward Kill. Before the memes, before Trollolo, there was Edward Kill, and Edward went through a lot before becoming the internet meme icon you know him as today. Let's start from the beginning. Edward was born September 4th, 1934 in Smolensk, USSR. And as you can probably imagine, growing up in Soviet Russia during one of the most tumultuous eras in human history, it probably wasn't easy for young Edward. During World War II, Edward's kindergarten was bombed during a Nazi invasion of the city. He survived only to soon after become separated from his mother during the city's evacuation effort. For the next 2 years, Edward would be an orphan, and he was relocated about 1,000 kilometers to the east in the city of Bakovo, where he stayed at a foster home. This home was said to have been in poor condition, lacking basic facilities, and food at the time was scarce. It would be easy for someone in this position to become dejected and depressed, but not Edward. Edward found hope in his own voice. He was a gifted singer, and during wartime, he often left the foster home to visit the local military hospital, where he would sing for the wounded soldiers. He honed his voice during the dark times and remained confident that things would eventually get better. After Edward's home city of Smolensk was liberated from the Nazis in 1943, his life began to improve. After the liberation, Edward was taken from the foster home and relocated back to his home city of Smolensk. And fortunately, he was reunited with his mother here. After the war completely ended, the two would move to Leningrad, where Edward would finish school and enter college. Around the time of his college education, Edward would meet a woman named Zoya, and the two would get married and have a son together. Also during college, Edward's vocal talent would become apparent to the Soviet public when he began performing at opera houses around Leningrad, where he would earn fame thanks to his bold baritone voice. Folks around Leningrad really liked Ed, and his part-time singing gig would eventually blossom into a full-time one when there was more of a demand for his vocal talent. Throughout the 1950s and 60s, Edward Kill became renowned throughout Russia for his performances of pop tunes and Russian folk songs. Which brings us to a particular Russian song that was a favorite of Mr. Edward Kill. A song called I Am Very Glad As I'm Finally Returning Back Home. The original version of this song was composed by a famous 20th century Russian songwriter named Arkady Ostrovsky. Now, the original version of this song was said to contain lyrics describing an American-like cowboy riding his horse home after being out on the trail for a long time and just having this overwhelming feeling of relief, that he's about to be home and able to relax. And with this song referencing an American cowboy in mind, consider the Cold War propaganda machine running on all cylinders. Edward Kill would be out of his mind if he performed this song publicly. Lyrics aside though, he loved the composition and its melody and overall positive vibe. He wanted to bring it to the big stage, so he got creative. Basically, Edward took the melody of this song and removed all the lyrics and replaced them with non-lexical vocal sounds. The la 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 la, tra la 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 la, trollolololos, you know what I mean. And what do you know, the Trollolo song, as we know it now, was born. Edward began performing his version of this song in the late 1960s, but the famous performance you're all familiar with was recorded in 1976 on a live television broadcast. While Edward's version of this song was indeed popular, it wasn't like a chart-topping creation by any means. It was just a happy, feel-good song that he had in his repertoire that he would bust out from time to time. Over the years, Edward's version of I Am Very Glad As I'm Finally Returning Back Home would be largely forgotten by the Soviet public, and Kill would move on with his career, performing until he retired in the 1990s, opting to spend more time with his family. Now, let's fast forward from the 1990s to 2010. The Cold War's over, Putin is riding a horse, and this little creation known as the internet is really popular around the world. And on the internet, memes are taking off like never before on websites like 4chan and Reddit. Rage comics, advice animal image macros, and of course the troll face are all in vogue. Trollface in particular was arguably at its peak popularity at this point, and so was the fascination with online trolling in general. In the early 2010s, being known as an internet troll was like the cool hip thing that every 14-year-old wanted to do. You know, you go on a forum and make a rage bait post or send somebody a troll face, and then you run to your high school buddies and you're like, bro, I epically trolled this guy on the internet. That's so much karma, dude. And there were many tactics of trolling that were popular at this time, but here are the big three in my opinion. You've got guys that would make troll bait YouTube videos, kind of like what Chad Warden did, or you had folks that would write a rage bait comment or a forum post. And then you had people using spoof links to send an unsuspecting internet user to a bait and switch video akin to the classic Rickroll. And this Rickroll type trolling is where we circle all the way back to our boy Edward Kill and his famous 1976 performance. On December 9th of 2009, a Russian-speaking YouTuber known as Real Papa Pit dug up an old archive of this performance and uploads it to his YouTube channel, adding the Trollolol tagline to the title of the song. Another YouTuber would clip just the portion of Edward laughing and upload it to his channel. This out-of-context clip of Edward laughing would be reposted to the RWTF subreddit, where it intrigued Western internet users who had no idea who the man was or why the hell he was laughing and singing so strangely. Needless to say, the video and the song was one of those things that would stick with you. You know, you would watch the video and it would remain with you for the rest of the day, and the song stuck in the back of your head and you just couldn't get it out. And with this effect in mind, this is where the trolls stepped in and started spreading this thing all over the place to mess with people. It worked exactly like the Rickroll. You make a post or a call to action prompting people to click a link, they click it, and well, they wind up somewhere where they didn't want to be. In this case, it was Edward laughing at their ass for getting tricked. It was a lighthearted prank and was all in good fun, and hell, some people decided to stick around and hear the rest of Edward's song. Because of the excessive amount of lololololols in the song and the fact that the video itself was funny and trolls were heavily involved in making this popular on the internet, that Trollolol title just kind of worked and stuck with this video. That's what the internet would forever remember Edward's song as. Trollolol would get tens of millions of views in the following months, and the video became the hot meme, with it not only being popular online, but becoming popular in mainstream culture. By mid-2010, this performance was plastered across the internet and was gobbling up YouTube clicks. It had established itself as an instant viral video classic by this point. But what of the man behind the Trollolol, talented Edward Kill? Well, unbeknownst to many, then 75-year-old Edward was very much aware of his living meme status, and boy was he thrilled that so many people were enjoying his song. Edward was beyond happy that his old song was given a new lease on life, and felt a profound sense of joy that it was bringing laughter to an entirely new generation. He embraced being Mr. Trollolol and saw the internet's sudden obsession with him as an unexpected blessing. At the time of the meme's peak popularity, Edward was frequently asked to sing the Trollolol song by passersby on the streets of St. Petersburg, where if time permitted, he would cheerfully oblige, such as this example recorded by the Marinsky YouTube channel. Eventually, Edward would actually address the internet directly and thank everyone for keeping Trollolol alive, even inviting them to create their own lyrics for the song if they so please.
I can't move!
И чтобы вы сами придумали текст песни, вот этой вот, которая называется «Вокалист». Потому что в каждой стране, наверное, человек по-своему поймет эту песню. И после того, как вы напишете слова для песни, не обязательно для всей песни, одного куплета, может быть, 2 строчки. И после этого, когда вы напишете, мы соберемся в интернете все вместе, договоримся, когда, какой день, какое время, и вместе все споем вот на новый текст эту песню. Благодаря интернету и вот этой энергии, которая нас всех соединяет, мы можем радоваться, смеяться, любить и воспитывать детей.
It seemed like he was having so much fun with being a living meme, and about a year and a half or so after the Mr. Trollolol meme really popped off, he would actually come out of retirement for one last song and do a live performance of the Trollolol song on stage. In a way, circling back to that big stage performance in '76 that started the genesis of Trollolol. It would be an understatement to say that Mr. Trollolol was a beloved figure. He was a meme icon and represented the internet's offbeat sense of humor. His legacy as a meme will live on forever. That said, unfortunately, Edward himself is just a mortal man like you or I. On June 4th of 2012, the world was met with tragic news when it was being reported that Mr. Edward Kill had passed away from complications caused by a stroke. He was 77 years old. When this news hit the internet, in a show of appreciation, users came together, flocking to the Trollolol video and left kind words and paid their respects to the Russian baritone who had brought joy to millions around the world. As an orphaned boy growing up in one of the darkest eras of human history, it would have been easy for Edward to be a person lost to time, a nameless casualty of circumstances out of his control. But Edward found a purpose early in life that not only guided him to success, but gave him hope. Bringing joy and happiness to others was that purpose. Through the vehicle of his voice, he helped others escape from their own momentary struggles, to get away from stress, and for a brief moment, smile. From the wounded soldiers in the military hospital to the opera house patrons of Leningrad and the millions of people on the internet, Edward reminded us to laugh a little, and for that, he'll be dearly missed. A personal favorite of mine, the Jack Ryan Miracle, is a tale involving a grocery store clerk assisting an autistic boy who had entered his store. Footage of the kind act would go viral on Facebook, not only melting the hearts of hundreds of thousands around the world, but it changed the lives of the store clerk and Jack Ryan himself forever. You might need a box of tissues for this one, guys. Today's story takes place on July 29th of 2018 at the Rouse's grocery store located on Drusilla's Lane in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Of the many employees clocking in for their workday, one of these employees was 20-year-old Jordan Taylor. Jordan came from a working-class family. His mother also worked for a different Rouse's store and hoped that one day she would be able to send Jordan to college. Now, about halfway through Jordan's shift on this day, a father and his son would enter the dairy department. This was Sid Edwards and his 17-year-old son, Jack Ryan Edwards. As mentioned briefly in the introduction, Jack Ryan was an autistic child, and he had difficulty interpreting social cues. And according to his family, the grocery store was often a distressing place for Jack Ryan. And with that said, this is when we get to the magic moment that Jack Ryan's family calls a miracle. After entering the dairy department, Jack Ryan would approach Jordan as he's stocking the orange juice cooler. He begins watching Jordan intently as he carefully blocks the bottles, aligning them in neat uniform rows. Jordan eventually notices Jack's interest in what he's doing and turns to ask him if he wanted a bottle of orange juice from the case. Jack Ryan doesn't respond to the question, seemingly fixated on the orange juice case itself. Momentarily puzzled, Jordan soon realizes that it wasn't the orange juice bottles themselves that Jack Ryan was interested in. It was the task that he was performing. Jack Ryan wanted to emulate him. He wanted to be a worker and stock the shelves. So Jordan turns and asks Jack Ryan, "Hey, do you want to help me?" Jack Ryan, realizing that Jordan understood what he wanted, says, "Help me," as he motions towards the orange juice cooler. It was established. The two would be working together on stocking this cooler. So Jordan, in a soft tone, begins to verbally guide Jack Ryan, patiently showing him how to place the bottles with his hands. Eventually, Jack Ryan starts to get the hang of things, and he blocks the orange juice by himself. He takes over as Jordan watches over him. For that moment, Jack Ryan was a bona fide Rouse's employee. For him, this was likely a monumental moment, and Jack Ryan's father couldn't believe what he was witnessing. He pulls out his camera and starts recording so he can show his family. The emotional weight of this scene can be felt through the screen.
Put another one. Put it. You're so good, man. I appreciate that. I'm watching a miracle in action. You know Jordan? I was watching Jordan style. We've been here 30 minutes.
Jordan would stock groceries alongside Jack Ryan for close to half an hour before the two parties went their separate ways. Jack Ryan left the store seemingly in good spirits, and his father touched by the kindness exemplified by Jordan. Jordan would continue his work for the day. He was certainly glad that he was able to help Jack Ryan, but at the time it's likely he underestimated the weight of his deed and how much it would mean to the Edwards family. But in due time, the Edwards family would make sure that Jordan Taylor knew how much this meant to them. Later in the day, Jack Ryan's father would share the video he recorded at Rouse's with Jack Ryan's sister. Her name is Delaney. Delaney was so moved by the video that she felt compelled to share the video to Facebook so that others could be inspired by Jordan's act of kindness. And to say that people were inspired would be an understatement. The video soon went viral on Facebook, with it getting over 1 million views in a matter of days, and scores of commenters poured in from around the world expressing their support. What an amazing young man to help, with the patience to allow this. Your mama must be proud, Jordan. People not familiar with autism have no idea how much this simple act of kindness can impact a person and their family. That young man looked completely at peace and happy. Only good things for you both. Jordan, such a kind and selfless act. I'm sure you made Jack's day and everyone else's who got to witness your blessing. You are a breath of fresh air, Jordan. Please, someone offer this amazing young man a college scholarship. The sentiment expressed by this last commenter was shared by many in this comment section. They wanted to repay Jordan for his kind deed that he perpetrated. If only there was some way for thousands of people to get together and raise money or do something special. I wonder where this is going. Well, Jack Ryan's sister Delaney would end up starting a GoFundMe with the goal of raising $100,000 so that Jordan could attend college. The campaign was called Send Jordan from Rouse's to School. This thing would go live around the time that the video was spreading on Facebook, and before you knew it, you had thousands of people coming to donate money. It was truly a beautiful sight to see. Now, what's Jordan's reaction to all the hubbub online regarding what he did? Well, Jordan couldn't believe he was getting this much praise for what he did. In his eyes, he was simply doing the right thing in the situation, showing empathy and compassion for an inquisitive teenager with autism. In the following days, Jack Ryan and his family would be accompanied by a news affiliate, and they went back to the Rouses to meet up with Jordan Taylor. When reporters asked Jordan Taylor why he did what he did, he tells them he was just being himself.
Taylor's mother, who also works at a different Rouse's, is who instilled the values in her son.
It's always help others when you can.
But Taylor didn't do it for the attention.
Never pictured all this would happen. I was just being me.
Mm-hmm. It's sad that the world isn't like him.
That's it.
That's it.
I just want to help somebody else out.
That's all.
As for Jack Ryan, around the time of the video going viral, it was reported that Rouse's had actually reached out to the family and offered him a position as a worker at the store. But eventually the offer would be respectfully declined by the family due to concerns with his ability to perform the work independently in such a socially demanding environment. Regardless, it was a kind gesture by Rouse's. By the middle of August, an unbelievable milestone in regard to Jordan's college fund was met. It exceeded its goal of $100,000, raising over $135,000 in total. Life-changing money for a working-class young man who now had the money he needed to get his college education and pursue his dream of becoming a teacher.
I'm watching a miracle in action. You know Jordan?
And good things kept coming for Jordan. In mid-August, it was revealed by Kieran Chawla of WFAB 9 News that Jordan was gifted a brand new 2017 Chevy Cruze by a local credit union who wanted to highlight his good character. And the most important development of all, in late August it was reported that Jordan Taylor had been accepted to college and would be attending the fall semester. It would be revealed that Jordan Taylor had selected to attend Grambling State University, reportedly choosing to study childhood education. A new chapter in his life had begun thanks to a singular act of kindness committed back at that Rouse's grocery store.
You don't need words to say what's in your heart.
Approaching Stargate.
This smile alone says it all, as Jack Ryan and Taylor stock shelves in the cooler.
All done. Good job. That's perfect.
Unfortunately, I'm unable to provide any recent updates on Jordan, as it seems he's decided to go private, likely focusing on school rather than being in the public limelight. A wise decision. However, that being said, I was able to get an update courtesy of Jack Ryan's sister, Delaney, the woman responsible for the GoFundMe that changed Jordan's life. She had this to say: "Jordan and I still talk sometimes. We've been meaning to hang out with Jack, but haven't gotten around to it lately." She continues, "Jordan is a really great person. Like, genuinely, I'm still amazed by him and that there are still young people that are that kind. I still can't believe that the GoFundMe got over $135,000, and I'm so elated for him. Every time I think about it, I can't wipe the grin off my face because he deserves it, all of it. He's so humble and gentle, and I truly hope the best for him. Jack, I call him Ziggy, is doing better lately and has actually been able to go back into the Rouse's store that he met Jordan in. For a while, that wasn't a possibility." I want to give a big thanks to Delaney for this comment, and hopefully Jack is able to tolerate Rouse's in the future. This story hit home for me on many levels, but as someone who has a close disabled family member, I can't tell you how much it means whenever someone goes out of their way to make that family member feel included in an activity. That small show of compassion goes a long way. More often than not, folks either just don't understand or appreciate the struggles of the disabled, leading many opting to avoid interaction entirely out of fear of an awkward encounter. In my late teens and early 20s, I worked at a grocery store just like Jordan did, and I know how easy it is on a busy Sunday to waive customer interaction for the possibility of blocking an aisle faster. But it's what you do under stressful circumstances that show your true character. Jordan Taylor did the right thing on July 29th of 2018. He included Jack Ryan Edwards, and for that, I and thousands of others online can't thank him enough. That, my friends, was the story of Jack and Jordan's grocery store miracle.
Never pictured all this would happen. I was just being me.
Yep.
I'm watching a miracle in action. You know Jordan?
The story of bus monitor Karen is admittedly a bit of an emotional roller coaster. What begins as a depressing showcase of bullying quickly turns positive after thousands of Redditors get involved. Their intervention completely flips the narrative, and this becomes one of the most touching stories to come out of 2012. So let's begin with a bit of Karen's backstory. Karen Klein was a woman of humble means, a grandmother living in the town of Greece, New York. She had been widowed since 1995 and had lived alone ever since. To support herself financially in these later years, Karen got a job as a school bus driver where she drove for 20 years, until in 2009 she would step down and take the role of a school bus monitor for the Greece School District. And if you don't know what a school bus monitor is, well, basically it's an adult that's paid to sit in the back of the bus with all the troublemaking kids and make sure they're not smoking cigarettes and drinking travel bottles of Skull vodka. So that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but pretty much they're there to make sure everybody's seated and being quiet. And most importantly, they're there to act as a check and balance against kids who might want to pick on or bully other kids on the bus. Which of course leads us to the infamous incident in 2012 where Karen found herself becoming the target of the bullying that ironically she was supposed to stop. It happens on bus number 784. This bus routinely was ridden by 4 students whose identities I'll keep anonymous, but they were notoriously nasty and often targeted Karen for her looks and age. Starting in the spring of 2012, these 7th grade students began secretly filming their merciless mockery sessions wherein they verbally abused Karen on the bus.
Karen, do you think you would finish one of these pictures? Karen, why are you wearing sunglasses over glasses? You gotta get that. Karen's such a Karen, what'd you
Look at them witch hands.
Shit on
Hey, that's a bad word.
Damn.
Karen, where'd you get those glasses, baby?
I got them at Walmart.
And if that wasn't in and of itself bad enough, they would take these recordings and upload them to Facebook. Karen would take the abuse on these occasions, finding that the children were unresponsive to disciplinary measures. All she could really do was try her best to ignore them and stomach the vitriol, and this proved difficult. It was her job to weed out bad eggs on the school bus, but I doubt she expected them to be this rotten.
Oh my god, you're so fat.
Drive.
Karen, you're fat. Dude, you're so fat. You take up like the whole entire seat. Oh no, put those. Oh my god, your glasses are foggy from your freaking sweat, you fat ass. Dude, put those glasses back on. I can't stand looking at your face. Karen, put those sunglasses back on. Freaking looking like a troll. You fat ass. Look at all this sweat right here.
Unless you have something nice to say, don't say
You can see the sweat dripping down her face. I know. Look fat ass. Karen, are you sweating? Oh my god, look, are you sweating? You're fucking gross. You're not sweating. Look at her. Why is there water on your face?
I'm crying.
Fuck up. Look at this. Look at this. You want this? Oh, too bad. Fat ass. What's your address so I can freaking piss all over your door?
I'm gonna fucking take a crack in your mouth.
Approaching Stargate.
Old ass. She's gonna die of fucking diabetes because she's so damn cute.
Why don't you take everybody else's picture?
Shut up with that fake gold. Yeah, no. Fake gold, that's plastic. You're a troll. You're a troll. You're a troll. You old troll.
Karen, did you get that purse on layaway?
Nah, she got it in the garbage can at Walgreens. You probably got that from Dollar Tree. Family Dollar, but you don't have a family because they're all children. They want to be doing.
Autopilot.
The particular video just played was probably the most brutal of all of the recordings, featuring some of the most vile insults and derogatory statements. The other recordings filmed by the kids never seemed to catch the internet's attention, but this one, through a miraculous stroke of luck, was stumbled upon by the right pair of eyes. On June 19th, a YouTuber known as Capital Trigger would find this particular video on Facebook and subsequently re-uploaded it to YouTube, where it would go on to absolutely explode, shocking and disgusting over 1 million viewers within 48 hours. Comments would begin flooding in, the majority of which were chastising the children for their actions and just expressing general outrage over this situation. The general sentiment here was something had to be done about these awful kids.
How could you keep doing that after Karen started crying? Those boys have no heart.
I really hope their parents know about this and are ashamed of how terribly they've raised their children.
Something needs to be done about this. I'm not saying to harm the people who took part in this horrible act, but as a teenager I believe that some type of action needs to be done to show all other teenagers and younger peers that this is not okay at all.
And the sentiment expressed in the online YouTube comment section would also be echoed offline within the mainstream media world.
Now to a video ricocheting across the country. A video a number of parents say they plan to sit down and show to their children to start a conversation about bullying of all kinds. The unlikely target in this video, a 68-year-old woman. And here's ABC's David Muir.
This story became somewhat of a national headline, with some news pundits even getting into contact with Karen herself. The news pundits did their best to make Karen feel better about the situation, and there were some companies that even reached out and offered paid vacations. But it really seemed like all she wanted was a simple apology from the kids.
What do you want to happen to these kids?
I want them to
Warp drive.
make sure that they never do this again to anybody. I would like them to be at least kept off the bus for a year.
So we received some statements through the police from two of the children who were tormenting you. Josh wrote, quote, "I'm so sorry for the way I treated you. When I saw the video, I was disgusted and could not believe that I did that." What do you make of that?
Of course it's going to say anything. I mean, Jazz, she always had this smirk on his face.
Approaching Stargate.
I don't know, maybe it's the way he really looks, but he always, it's like after he said something, you know, I mean, he always like has trouble, you know, what do I? Even if it wasn't picking on me, it was something else. So I just don't think I would believe in
Another child, Wesley, said, quote, "I feel really bad about what I did. I wish I had never done those things. If that had happened to someone in my family, like my mother or grandmother, I would be really mad at the people who did that to them." Do you accept these apologies?
I haven't gotten one yet. One is supposed to be being mailed, but I haven't gotten that one. So the other two I might not get anything from anyway.
It is reported that the kids responsible for harassing Karen would all apologize, but at least according to her, these apologies seemed insincere. And they would do little to stop the wrath that the kids would face from the internet and mainstream media alike. And with that said, what would exactly happen to these children who are responsible for recording the disgusting video? Well, aside from receiving a considerable amount of death threats and overwhelming hate, all 4 students responsible were suspended from the school system for an entire year and given 50 hours community service. If you want to argue the devil's advocate case that these kids shouldn't have been bandwagoned on so hard and that this was just a lapse of judgment one might have as a dumb middle school kid,
I'm gonna fucking take a crack in your mouth.
That's fine, but I'd like to add that 2 years after this incident, it's reported that 2 of the kids involved in the bus incident allegedly bullied and filmed a special needs child in the school bathroom. So with that in mind, it's really hard for me to feel bad here. But with that said, it's not really the punishment of the kids that's remarkable about this story. It's more so how people came together and rallied behind Karen and what they did to support her in this situation. And that support was thousands of anonymous online strangers coming together to raise money. While this story was making its rounds in the mainstream media, an Indiegogo fundraiser was quietly initiated on the R Assistance subreddit by Redditor Heavy Balls Are Heavy, real name Max Sidorov. Max's initial goal for the campaign was to raise enough money for Karen to enjoy a nice vacation. But the campaign would completely outperform expectations, raising over $700,000 in proceeds, all of which would go directly to Karen Klein herself.
Autopilot jumping.
This is what gratitude looks like. Strangers brought together after a few moments of inhumanity became a groundswell of compassion.
It's all your fault.
ABC News was there overnight as 68-year-old bus monitor Karen Klein met her anonymous benefactor.
Nice guy. Nice guy. And I'm very appreciative.
Never get close to that amount, you know, ever.
Life has changed.
Oh, yeah, I used to just come home and sit up on my computer and play games, whatever, and now this.
Karen has started an anti-bullying foundation and plans to tour the U.S. giving talks in October. She says Max has changed her life.
I know there are nice people out there. I wasn't always so sure, but I know now.
Karen would leave her bus monitoring position after all of this was said and done and enter retirement. A reasonable choice considering the lump sum of $700,000 at the age of 68. I'd probably do the same thing. That said, a good sum of this money went to charity. With the help of Max, Karen founded the Karen Klein Anti-Bullying Foundation, which would go on to raise money to promote anti-bullying education in schools. And as for what the kids are doing nowadays, well, that's not exactly known. But considering that allegation which popped up 2 years after the bus incident, I would imagine they're having bright and prosperous futures, don't you think? I'd like to say this in conclusion. While I'm generally skeptical of these "we did it, Reddit" moments, as online vigilantism usually ends terribly. But in this case, I gotta give it to Reddit. Max and those who supported did well here, and in this case, Reddit veered away from harassing the kids and focused more so on supporting the victim, which is the way that this kind of stuff needs to be done, and it was really great to see.
And what might be the most wholesome story to come out of early 4chan, Mr. Lashua's birthday is a heartwarming tale involving hundreds of anonymous internet users banding together to throw a soon-to-be 90-year-old World War II veteran an unforgettable birthday celebration.
This story begins in early September of 2010 in the small city of Gardner, Massachusetts. An anonymous 4chan user from the area had been made aware of a notice posted on a bulletin board inside Gardner's local Stop and Shop grocery store. The notice was a public invitation to a birthday party being held for this older gentleman. The name of the man having the birthday party wasn't listed, but an image of him was displayed. Additionally, the time, date, and location of the birthday event were also listed. Wanted, people for birthday party, September 4th, 2010, 1 to 4 p.m. at the Ashburnham American Legion. The Ashburnham American Legion is a veterans association located in the neighboring town of Ashburnham, about a 20-minute drive from the store where the birthday bulletin was posted. Apparently, the anonymous 4chan user who stumbled across this birthday bulletin was familiar with the man shown in the photo, as Anon was able to identify this man as World War II veteran William J. Lashua. Lashua was a lifelong resident of Ashburnham and was known throughout the local communities. This upcoming birthday for Mr. Lashua was going to be a big one, as he was turning 90 years old. Wanting to help with the birthday call to action, the Anon who stumbled across this notice posted it to 4chan's B board in a thread created on September 1st.
Everyone sent him a card, if not more. He's turning 90 and is a World War II vet. He deserves everything.
It was admittedly unreasonable for Anon to ask people to make the trip to Massachusetts and attend the Lashua birthday event in person, so Anon simply encouraged B to send kind birthday cards to the mailing address of the Veterans Association venue hosting the party. You know, wishing the man a happy birthday. Now, B is generally a place of unchecked toxicity, vitriol, and degeneracy, but something about this simple request asking B to honor the birthday of this 89-year-old man, it seemed to crack the armor of even the most jaded and nihilist of 4chan shitposters. The request hit a soft spot. The idea of giving this man the birthday of his life using the power of their weaponized altruism quickly caught on, and B was totally considering breaking formation and actually doing something good here. So B said something along the lines of this: Anon, we'd love to send some cards to this old man, but we're not totally sold yet. Sell it harder. Well, if Mr. Lashua turning 90 and also being a World War II veteran didn't warrant reverence already, there were some flattering details about his character that would soon be discovered that kind of set this deal over the edge for 4chan. So it's reported that Mr. Lashua, alongside his late wife Hilda, had 6 children of their own after he came back from the military and started a family. But they also housed dozens of foster children throughout the years, providing children with a home, safety, and stability until permanent foster parents could be found. Mr. Lashua and his wife had provided a great service for children in need. Unfortunately, though, Hilda had passed away in 2005, and it's assumed that this marked the end of the Lashua's contribution to fostering children. Yeah, this man was a total sweetheart. All things considered, at this point, B was sold. They decided they were going to do some good here. The call to arms was echoed across 4chan, and 4chaners site-wide rushed to prepare happy birthday postcards and other gifts for Mr. Lashua, which they promptly mailed to the address listed on the invitation. Hundreds of people from across the world claimed they were sending something to Mr. Lashua through postage, Others simply left happy birthday wishes within the original 4chan thread. Some even claimed they might actually attend the event itself. An online birthday wish spirit bomb was forming, and as the days crept closer to September 4th, Mr. Lashua's birthday, the spirit bomb only got bigger. Operation Wish Mr. Lashua Happy Birthday would eventually spread outside of 4chan to other message boards and social media sites, most notably to Reddit. Oh, Reddit, always swagger-jacking 4chan. Anyhow, the spread would only exponentially increase the mail and in-person attendees that could potentially be showing up to this 2,000 square foot Veterans Association building in Ashburnham, Massachusetts. And that being said, you have to wonder at this point, have any of Mr. Lashua's family caught wind of what's going on online? People preparing all of these cards and potentially attending this small get-together only meant for family? Well, somebody would catch wind of it, and they would make a post to Reddit addressing all of this. It was one of Mr. Lashua's grandsons. Mr. Lashua's grandson would thank people for the support, though he urged people not to show up to the party unless they were from the local area. This is what he said on Reddit. I am William J. Lashua's grandson. Please read this. Kind folks of Reddit, my family and I appreciate the outpouring of love and generosity. There has been a large misunderstanding. The poster, which I'm told was found at the Gardner Stop and Shop, was more a local notice for people that know him. It was in no way to indicate that he is alone. He has 7 children, many grandchildren, and even great-grandchildren. In his younger years, he was a foster parent to dozens of foster children. He is well liked in the community and will be fully supported on his 90th birthday. I ask that if you don't know him to not attend the party, as it is for his friends and family. The venue for the party is a very small hall and will be full to capacity with people he knows and loves. By all means, send cards and well wishes, but please refrain from sending gifts, strippers, cakes, candies, etc. And instead, please make a donation in his name to a local veterans charity. Thank you again for all the love and well wishes. We certainly never expected this. You are awesome, Reddit. Now, please help me spread the word to other outlets and make sure this is a smaller, enjoyable party for him. Now, considering the wishes of Mr. Lashua's grandson here, it was generally agreed by the people on Reddit and 4chan that it probably wasn't the best idea to actually make the trip to Mr. Lashua's party. They figured the hundreds of cards that were supposedly coming in the mail could probably guarantee this guy would have a very special birthday. At this point, all 4chan and Reddit could do was wait for the fateful day of September 4th and cross their fingers in the hopes that the mail would reach Mr. Lashua's Veterans Association venue in time for the party. September 4th, 2010. The day had arrived for Mr. Lashua's birthday party. In the past week, thousands online had claimed to have sent cards and gifts to the Veterans Association venue for Mr. Lashua. The big question on everyone's mind was, did the internet follow through here? Did people really send these cards, or was it just a big meme? Well, I'll let you be the judge.
Hello, my name is Sarah Lozo. My father, William Lashua, celebrated his 90th birthday today. Someone put it on the internet, and we got hundreds of cards and gifts and flowers and balloons and cake.
The birthday plan hatched by B was a massive success. Mr. Lashua and his family were blown away by the kindness shown by those of 4chan and the rest of the internet users that contributed to the party. Mr. Lashua received hundreds of birthday cards, gifts, and phone calls to the venue, wishing him a happy birthday.
The phone was ringing off the hook. We got calls from Japan, Ireland, England, all over not just all over the country, but all over the world. And it's pretty much renewed my faith in humanity for, people calling to wish somebody a happy birthday that they don't even know who served in World War II.
We just want to thank everyone for being so kind and wishing him good and to live to be 110. Thank you all.
And even though they were told not to, a handful of Redditors and B users actually attended the event in person, but neither the family or Mr. Lashua seemed to mind their presence. The 90-year-old Mr. Lashua got an unforgettable birthday, and it wouldn't have happened without food. This This whole event is yet another example of 4chan's uncanny ability to manifest real-life action out of their campy online chatter. Now, a lot of the time, this real-life action that they manifest can be negative, but in this case, it was overwhelmingly wholesome and positive. As for Mr. Lashua, after his time in the internet limelight, he went back to living a quiet and peaceful life. A couple of years would go by and no updates about Mr. Lashua would be made public. And naturally, people online began to get concerned for him. Well, finally in 2013, almost 3 years after the Mr. Lashua party, the internet would finally get an update on his condition and what he had been up to. And this update was provided by one of his grandchildren in a thread that they had created on 4chan. Unfortunately, though, this wasn't the news that people wanted to hear. Almost 3 years ago, 4chan made my grandfather, William Lashua, a very famous man. He was turning 90 and is a proud World War II veteran. Because of 4chan, my grandfather and family was overwhelmed by the kindness and respect that we got in honor of my grandfather's birthday. It is with a heavy heart that I tell you that my grandfather passed away last week. He was surrounded by our family as he passed in his home. You can find his obituary in the Gardner News from Gardner, Massachusetts. My family and I continue to thank you for helping my grandfather's 90th one for the books. May he rest in peace. When an elderly small-town food reviewer writes a glowing review for her local Olive Garden restaurant, internet pundits get a hold of the review and start mocking the woman for having a, quote, unrefined palate. However, this viral mockery is defeated after a beloved food industry icon comes to the defense of the elderly reviewer. In what could be described as a beautiful showcase of empathy and standing up for what's right, this is the story of Marilyn Haggerty's Olive Garden review. To begin, I want to introduce you all to the setting of today's story. Grand Forks, North Dakota. Boasting a humble population of approximately 50,000, residents of this somewhat isolated Midwestern city have long enjoyed a quiet, unassuming, and community-focused existence. To give you a better idea of what living in Grand Forks is like, I want to show you some of the tourist attractions listed on its tourism website. Grand Forks offers can't-miss experiences such as Bob's Oil Company, the American Legion Cafe, and of course their state-of-the-art AMC movie theater. Yeah, Grand Forks is keeping it humble, and with these examples shown, I think you can begin to understand why the people living in Grand Forks may be a little bit excited when they heard that Olive Garden was coming to town. And this is exactly what happened in February of 2012.
Zoom shells with premium seafood sauce or with sausage and Alfredo. Starting at $9.95 at Olive Garden.
With lots of spaghetti.
In late February, Olive Garden, the undisputed king of franchise Italian fare, would be blessing Grand Forks with all of its Alfredo sauce-laden glory. And when opening day came, you could bet your bottom dollar that Grand Forks' own most esteemed culinary critic would be present to try out the exotic flavors provided by the chain.
I'd like to try the classic lasagna. Got some nice sharp taste to it. Time has come for dessert.
Meet Marilyn Haggerty. Age 85 at the time of this story, she was a columnist for the city's most popular newspaper, the Grand Forks Herald. For over 20 years, she had written a segment called the EvE, in which she would review restaurants around the local area. Essentially, the sweet geriatric version of the Report of the Week, Haggerty's column mostly detailed her experiences dining at franchise chains. While some critics may consider the act of reviewing a chain restaurant redundant or beneath them, Haggerty enjoyed these sorts of eateries. She had given positive reviews to a local Subway, McDonald's, and even Taco Bell. And Grand Forks' newly opened Olive Garden was next on the list to be reviewed. Shortly after the new Grand Forks Olive Garden opened, Haggerty would make her way to the restaurant and enjoy a meal. Afterwards, she would write a review for it, which was overwhelmingly positive. It's a pretty long and detailed review, but here are the highlights. My first visit to Olive Garden was during mid-afternoon, so I could be sure to get in. After a late breakfast, I figured a late lunch would be fashionable. The place is impressive. It's fashioned in Tuscan farmhouse style with a welcoming entryway. There is seating for those who are waiting. It had been a few years since I ate at the older Olive Garden in Fargo, so I studied the few manageable menus offering appetizers, soups and salads, grilled sandwiches, pizza, classic dishes, chicken and seafood, and filled pastas. At length, I asked my server what she would recommend. She suggested chicken Alfredo, and I went with that. Instead of the raspberry lemonade she suggested, I drank water. The chicken Alfredo, $10.95, was warm and comforting on a cold day. The portion was generous. My server was ready with Parmesan cheese. As I ate, I noticed the vases and planters with permanent flower displays on the ledges. There were several dining areas with arched doorways, and there's a fireplace that adds warmth to the decor. On a summer day, I will try the raspberry lemonade that was recommended. All in all, it is the largest and most beautiful restaurant now operating in Grand Forks. It attracts visitors from out of town as well as people who live here.
The North Dakota woman who's been writing columns for 50 years, but never has one of her restaurant reviews captured this much attention.
Somehow this seemingly innocuous and most certainly wholesome Olive Garden review would cause Marilyn to become the target of online mockery. Marilyn's review was first criticized by a food blogger in Colorado who would set the patronizing tone which would be shared amongst food critics in regards to Marilyn and her review. This critic says, "Did you know there was a line at the Olive Garden in Grand Forks through February? Marilyn Haggerty does. She is about the cutest food blogger ever. And if my own grandma didn't already love the Olive Garden, I would adopt Marilyn as my excuse to go to the Olive Garden. She ordered chicken Alfredo and a water. She turned down the raspberry lemonade. Who goes to the Olive Garden and turns down the raspberry lemonade? Apparently the Grand Forks Herald needs to up her stipend." Another blogger called her review unwittingly hilarious and joked, "I just hope a Popeyes never moves into the neighborhood. Otherwise everyone's heads may explode like that famous gif from Scanners." Marilyn's Olive Garden review would eventually make its rounds on Reddit, where neckbeards would share personal anecdotes and jokes regarding her seemingly over-enthusiastic review of the chain restaurant. A while ago, I was standing at the Taco Bell at the mall waiting for my food when an elderly lady came up beside me to talk to the manager. Her purpose? To send her compliments to the chef because it was the best quesadilla she had ever had. That's adorable. Quote, "Instead of the raspberry lemonade she suggested, I drank water," end quote. Well, it was a late lunch. Can't get too crazy before dinner. Bro, you got the whole squad laughing with that one. Within days of Marilyn's interview being posted, it seemed like everyone and their grandma had something to say or some sort of joke to crack about it. Because I guess it's a cardinal sin to actually enjoy Olive Garden. I mean, don't get me wrong, Olive Garden isn't my favorite place to eat or anything, but I consider it to be a perfectly fine establishment. I think a lot of the snark thrown in Marilyn's direction was rooted in a lack of understanding of what it's like living in a smaller city or town. You aren't surrounded by 5-star dining options. Hell, you aren't surrounded by many options in general. And people genuinely get excited when a new restaurant comes to town. And there's nothing wrong with that. With Marilyn's Olive Garden review now viral, her column on the Grand Forks Herald website was getting upwards of 10,000 page visits per day. And she personally was getting inundated with emails, with feedback both positive and negative. She would first address her viral fame in an interview with the Village Voice. Here she claps back at her haters. I may sound a little on the defensive to you today because of the emails I've received. One was kind of snotty, but the other 4 or 5 were kind of friendly. But my daughter tells me I should go on Facebook and read all of this crap, and I do not have time to let myself be bothered or read all of that stuff. I have a Sunday column I'm doing now about a completely different subject. I don't have time to sit here and twit over whether some self-styled food expert likes or does not like my column. The publisher likes it. Marilyn seemed mostly unfazed by the jokes that were coming her way, and she really didn't need any emotional support throughout this, but whether she wanted it or not, she got some. This support came from late famed American celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain. Anthony Bourdain would praise Marilyn for her response to all the attention, tweeting this out on March 8th of 2012. Very much enjoying watching internet sensation Marilyn Haggerty triumph over the snarkologists, myself included. This wouldn't be the only time Bourdain and Haggerty would cross paths. Anthony would invite her to New York City. There, they met and tried out restaurants around town. This resulted in not only a friendship, but a business deal. Anthony offered Marilyn a book deal, wherein she would publish her nearly 30 years of food reviews for the Grand Forks newspaper into one book. This book is called Grand Forks, History of American Dining. This is a clip of Anthony speaking highly of Marilyn, and it's pretty heartwarming to say the least.
Tell us about this woman who, 85 years old, she did this review, and you saw it and loved it.
Marilyn Haggerty wrote from the North Grand Forks, North Dakota Press, wrote a small article, a review of the new Olive Garden opening up in her neighborhood. And of course, it became sort of an immediate viral sensation. People were putting it up as the most hilarious and mockable review ever. And of course, that was my first instinct as a New Yorker, as somebody who's eaten all over the world, to sneer. And then her reaction was I don't know, so dignified and genuine, and the review itself was so heartfelt. And this is a woman who's been reporting for the paper, 5 columns, I think, for 30 years. I thought, wow, you're making us all look bad. This is the way much of America eats, and I just thought, actually, this body of work, these 30 years of reviews of dining in North Dakota, is in a sense a history of dining in America, and I thought, I want to publish this person, and in fact, I will be doing just that.
So you guys are going to work together with a book deal. Very nice.
Yes, I'm meeting with her later today.
Very nice.
After the Anthony Bourdain co-sign, Marilyn became less of a target of online mockery and more of a beloved living meme that the mainstream media couldn't get enough of. Marilyn's book would go on to sell thousands of copies, and she continues to write reviews for the Grand Forks Herald to this day. Looking back, she is very grateful for all the attention and opportunities granted to her by this Olive Garden review, and she is most grateful for what Anthony Bourdain did. Shortly after Anthony's passing in 2018, she had this to say about his upstanding character. He spoke up for me at a time when people all over the country were making great fun of the column I write. To have a man of his stature to rise up and befriend me would mean a lot to me. You know, sometimes you go through life and you think about all the wonderful things that happen to you. And one of the wonderful things that happened to me was when Anthony Bourdain spoke up for me and wanted to publish my columns.
Autopilot jumping.
And in regards to his death, she said, "It's sad, shocking news." After experiencing the loss of his longtime fishing buddy, an elderly gentleman takes to a Craigslist-like website to ask the internet if anyone wants to be his fishing partner. Likely not expecting much of a response, the lonely fisherman soon finds himself receiving hundreds of offers. And what happens next will bring a tear to your eye. This is the touching story of the internet's loneliest fisherman. Our story begins in early January of 2017 with this older gentleman from Lewiston, South Australia, Ray Johnston. And I know it looks like John Stone for you American viewers, but it's pronounced Johnston in the Australian dialect. 75-year-old Mr. Ray Johnston was a retired workman who was living off of his pension. His wife had passed away years prior, and the man spent a lot of time alone in his house in this semi-rural area. Stargate. One can imagine that such a lifestyle could attract a feeling of loneliness, and well, according to a post posted by Ray to Gumtree.com on January 19th, it seemed like Ray was experiencing such an emotion, or at the very least a feeling of boredom. For those who don't know, Gumtree.com is basically Craigslist, and under Gumtree's fishing gear and equipment section, Mr. Ray submits this post titled, "My name is Ray Johnston, looking for a fishing mate." He categorizes the listing as used. "My name is Ray Johnston, Australian. I'm a widowed pensioner who is looking for a fishing mate. My previous fishing mate is now deceased. I am a land-based fisherman. I have all the gear for all types of fish that is required for land-based fishing. What I want is a fishing mate in a similar position to myself who also wants someone to go fishing with. I am willing to share all costs, petrol, bait, and should you happen to own a boat, willing to pay all ramp fees, but happy if you are also a land-based fisherman. Contact me at my email address or phone me to arrange a meeting to see if we could get along with each other. Thanking you, Ray Johnston. P.S. I live at Lewiston, South Australia. In addition to including a photo of himself, he also includes several photos of some of his favorite fishing spots. Needless to say, this man's post was very frank. He was being upfront and honest with the internet that he wanted some companionship. This is by no means a sob story, but it does invoke sympathy for the guy. It painted a picture of a lonely old-timer with cabin fever who wanted nothing more than to get out of the house and enjoy a day by the water, participating in one of his favorite pastimes. Sure, he could possibly go fishing alone, but this is an older guy that might not be able to get around as well, and everybody knows a buddy makes everything better. Perhaps some of you have experienced something like this, you know, having a passion for a particular hobby or activity, but no one to share the love of that passion with. It can be spiritually devastating over time. Now, generally speaking, the internet has a soft spot for older folks online. A lot of real-world values get lost in translation online, but respecting your elders still seems to be present on the internet. And with that said, this simple plea for a fishing pal quickly started getting attention on Gumtree and would later spread to other areas of the internet that allowed for comments and discussion. And one thing soon became clear. Thousands online were willing to be Ray's fishing pal, and they were behind him all the way. Just spent the last 20 minutes crying over a wee old man's post on Gumtree looking for a fishing buddy. I love this. Let's find Ray a fisher friend. I know nothing about fishing, but hashtag I'll fish with Ray. Literally crying about this. Someone go fishing with him. Hey Ray, if you're ever in Canada, I'll gladly fish for largemouth or pike and pickerel with you. My treat. Hashtag I'll fish with Ray. Hashtag I'll fish with Ray. Ray, I'll take you out on my boat to catch redfish if you come to Louisiana. This now viral Gumtree post that contained Ray's email and phone number was rapidly spreading around the internet, resulting in him getting hundreds of calls and emails.
No.
None would actually promise Ray to go down to South Australia and fish with him, but many would give him their kind words and wished him the best of luck on his fishing buddy quest.
When I started getting a few phone calls this morning, I thought it was just because of my age. This is something I never ever expected.
You've made some good mates through fishing?
No, but it sounds like I will be.
Support for Ray was everywhere. People were even creating GoFundMes for Ray with the hopes of getting him an expensive fishing charter and nice gear, one of which actually raised over 2,000 Australian dollars, which was paid to Ray by check according to the fund manager. Yeah, so people were offering their kind words, invitations from halfway around the world, and of course money, but no one had satisfied what the Gumtree.com classified ad was asking for. A fishing buddy, just someone to go down there and go fishing with him. It didn't seem like anyone was truly committed to setting up a trip. Though after several weeks of many empty promises from people online, one man would finally step up and give Ray Johnston the fishing trip he'd longed for since his old fishing buddy had tragically passed away years prior. This is Matty Batsalinas. This, at the time, 22-year-old carpenter and fishing enthusiast from Brisbane reached out to Ray after discovering his classified ad. After speaking over the phone, the two would form a friendship and worked out a trip, and Matty flew Mr. Johnston hundreds of miles out to the Queensland coast. It was a 2-day tour of Stradbroke Island, and was likely one of the most memorable fishing experiences of Ray's angling career.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted. Docking permission requested. Autopilot disabled. Waypoint reached.
After the trip, Ray and his family were extremely grateful for the act of kindness, and reflecting on the event, Daily Mail reports Matty had this to say. The weather was perfect for their outing, and he said it was incredible to see the elderly man smile. Since Matty wasn't retired himself and indeed lived hundreds of miles away from Ray, he couldn't truly be the permanent replacement fishing buddy that the classified ad was asking for. But needless to say, what he did was truly a touching gesture and likely gave the man hope and optimism that's often fleeting in one's later years. The publicity from this trip got the attention of other anglers who would go on to take Ray on different fishing trips. It seemed like he had a roster of fishermen waiting in the wings to take him out on a boat for a trip. Whatever the case, if Ray Johnston was ever in need of a fishing buddy again, the internet would be right behind him, ready to cast a line.
When a man finds himself in dire need of a liver transplant, his family creates a GoFundMe on his behalf to raise the money. However, what the family didn't expect was that a satirical meme group on Facebook would discover this GoFundMe and turn the man in need of a transplant into a living meme. In one of the most bizarrely wholesome crowdfunding events in internet history, this is the story of Gary's liver transplant.
Generally speaking, the internet is a pretty hostile place. 99% of the time, folks online don't have anything nice to say, and when it comes to you guys, you're always reminding me of how I'm going bald and saying that I'm wearing red lipstick, which I promise you I'm not, but I do look weird. I'll agree with you on that.
Look at the top of his head!
Now, my personal gripes aside, what keeps me coming back to the internet are these rare, precious moments where a group of internet oddballs will come together and perpetrate some extremely wholesome act that's both simultaneously heartwarming and hilarious. One of these moments happened recently when a Facebook group consisting of rascally trolls learned of a Facebook market post where a man was selling all of his power tools in a desperate attempt to raise money to fund a liver transplant that he would need to survive. Saddened by the dire circumstances facing this man, this troll group would temporarily pivot from their mischievous ways and work together to try to make this liver transplant a reality. This is the story of the Facebook meme page that helped a man out with getting a new liver. To set the stage for this wholesome tale, we must first enter the wild world of Facebook. Facebook is a platform that's often panned by millennials as being this irrelevant website that no one actually uses. But boomers love this place and actually update their timelines very frequently. And while a majority of your daily timeline updaters tend to be up in age, younger, more meme-savvy internet users still flock to the site for its robust selection of dank meme community pages. Now, one of these bustling millennial and Gen Z-filled Facebook communities is a boomer satire / role-playing group known as a car club where everyone acts like boomers. This group and their actions will be the focus of today's story. Now, this group's name sort of spells out what they do, but basically these guys look for cringe or ridiculous Facebook posts uploaded by boomers, then they share these posts to their group, and well, the group members go in the comments and act like boomers themselves, sort of making fun of the posts. Here's an example of their work. Some guy on the page found this half-naked boomer cranking his hog on the highway and shared the sighting to the car club. The community members responded accordingly. I could crank my hog to that.
He's gonna crank my hog to
when
that.
He rides over those goddamn grass clippings. Goddamn
He's gonna
Drank from the hose. I don't need no gear.
I don't need no gear. I drank from the hose. I drank from the hose. I don't need no gear.
My grandson told me you only YOLO once. I don't know what that means, but God bless. That's pretty much the community in a nutshell. They find weird boomer posts, act like boomers in the comments, satirically supporting it, but actually almost like unironically supporting it in a weird way. Normally it's all jokes with these guys, but in May of 2021, they would stumble across a boomer post that instead of drawing ridicule, caused some serious positive action to come from this group. In May, Pennsylvanian Facebook user Gary Ryder posted this to the Facebook Marketplace. Air compressor towards liver transplant. Older air compressor, working as it should. I need a liver transplant, proceeds go towards it. Gary, and he gives his phone number.
Okay.
A Facebook user who happened to be in the car club noticed Gary's post and shared it to the page. And instead of the typical peanut gallery antics, members of the club seemed genuinely concerned for this Gary Ryder fellow and wanted to know more about his need for a liver transplant. And it turns out the man was in a pretty tough spot. Gary, 57 years old at the time of the post, had been disabled since the late 2000s after the right side of his body was crushed by a bobcat loader at his welding job.
Bobcat
He was
loader.
hospitalized for some time, and it took him 2 years to be able to walk again, requiring supportive devices to do so. The injury left Gary with long-term chronic pain that he would take pain medication in order to manage. Eventually, Gary's health would decline further when he developed hepatic fibrosis, a condition where the liver's ability to metabolize and filter is inhibited by a buildup of excessive connective tissue and scarring. In a statement to Jalopnik.com, Gary said he was told the condition developed as a result of him passively inhaling toxic welding fumes over time at his job, also stating that his pain medications may have exacerbated the condition as well. Regardless, the bottom line was doctors told Gary he was going to need a new liver, and his family didn't have the money for this liver transplant, hence why he was selling this air compressor on Facebook Marketplace. Now, the usual unserious and trollish folks over in the car club that act like boomers, they were genuinely saddened by Gary's predicament and wanted to help him out. It would be a cold day in hell before these guys let a man sell his air compressor just so he could survive. They wanted to make it easier for him. So they got to work looking for ways to help, and not long after, it would be discovered that Gary Ryder's daughter had created a GoFundMe page in the hopes of raising funding for Gary's transplant. Help Gary Ryder get a new liver. We're trying to raise money to help our father pay for a liver transplant. He's a caring guy who helps everyone he can. The GoFundMe was started back in March and had practically no donations, but that would change in short time. After this GoFundMe was discovered by the car club, they started leaving donation after donation in the hopes of leaving this man with some life-saving cash. And of course, they left a plethora of messages role-playing as car enthusiast boomers while doing it. Get yourself a souped-up liver, Gary. God bless you. Keep that compressor singing. God bless. God bless you, Gary. Just saw the pic of your compressor. Very fancy. Keep that darn thing and get yourself a new liver. God bless. Hell yeah, brother. We'll have that hog cranked again in no time. God bless. Keep on trucking, brother. God bless. Give 'em hell, Gary. Here's to you and your fam. Gary, you've got the support of some bad-to-the-bone truckers who give no dams and shits. God bless and keep on trucking. Hell yeah, brother. You keep that air compressor and go get that transplant. And these guys just kept it up. Over the span of about a week, the people from the car club where everyone acts like boomers had managed to raise an eye-popping $58,056 for Gary's medical bills. And the only reason that the amount isn't any higher is because Gary had his daughter shut down the GoFundMe because he felt the amount raised was more than he needed. NPR has reported that Gary's transplant would cost around $40,000, meaning $58K would certainly do the trick. After the massive donation wave and donations were disabled from the GoFundMe, Adriana had this to say in regards to the support shown towards her dad. So dad has requested that donations be shut off because he has raised more than what he needed and feels grateful to everyone who has donated and made him reach his goal. So the donations have been turned off as of tonight. Thank you from my dad and us kids to everyone that has donated. You have helped give my dad more memories with our family. And we greatly appreciate every single one of you. God bless. Gary, on the other hand, had a more humorous response to all the hubbub surrounding his liver. He says, as of now, this is the best air compressor on earth. I love y'all for your support. Needless to say, Gary didn't have to sell his air compressor, which was a big W for everyone involved. That said, Gary isn't out of the woods just yet. While he does have this money now, he still doesn't have a donor for the transplant. According to updates from Adriana and Gary himself, there are multiple people from Gary's family that are being tested as potential donors coming up in the month of July. It is possible that doctors could find a match and essentially be able to transplant a graft of liver tissue from a healthy person to Gary. And if successful, the transplanted healthy tissue would help get things back running smoothly again. But if that doesn't work, Gary will most likely need to get a full liver transplant from a deceased donor, which is a bit more difficult to come by and is obviously much more of an undertaking. So only half the battle has been won now, and the other half will indeed be a challenge. Yes, it's good that Gary has this life-saving cash on hand, but he's still got a ways to go. If you guys want to keep tabs on Gary's liver transplant progress, follow the Help Gary Get a Liver Facebook page. The link is in the description. You'll find that Gary and his family post updates here, and if you're invested in this story, definitely check out the page. I wish Gary and his family the best of luck. But that was the story of how a Facebook community known for picking on boomers actually came together and rallied behind a boomer who was in a tough spot, literally providing life-saving cash that could fund a liver transplant once a match has been found for this man. So to the folks in the car club where everyone acts like boomers, I salute you and God bless.
When a high school student finds himself unfairly and unceremoniously banned from prom, the internet comes to his defense. This is the story of the James Tate prom ban. The story begins with James Tate and two other friends sneaking onto school property in the dead of night. Using a ladder and a collection of cardboard letters that James had arduously cut out himself, he admonishes the exterior wall of the school with his prom proposal to his friend Sonali. The group works quick and leaves school property, returning around 7 a.m. for the start of the school day. And naturally, when students start arriving, they're impressed with the boldness of the proposal, and this thing kind of just came across as a hilarious prank in the same vein. People respected James for doing this. James became the man of the hour, and even more impressed was Sonali, who promptly accepted his prom proposal. James got his date locked in. The students loved this thing, but the school's administration and headmaster Beth Smith, they were kind of pissed about it. Shortly after the school day began, James and his two accomplices were called to the office, and after some review of the situation, all three were issued a one-day in-school suspension for trespassing and defacing school property. But at the time, James wasn't worried about some one-day in-school suspension. He was the big man on campus and got his prom date locked in. Who cares about a one-day ISS? That was until the school's headmaster turned the tables and completely shadow-realmed James's hopes of going to prom. Citing some arbitrary rule created by the school system, any student suspended after the date of April 1st would automatically be forbidden to attend that year's prom. And since James did his proposal in early May, he was gonna be banned, and he was totally screwed. Whispers of James's prom ban spread around the school, and students who had come to revere him over the course of the day thanks to his proposal, well, they were quickly outraged by this newsflash. Students felt like the punishment didn't fit the crime here. At worst, it was a harmless prank, and at best, well, this was a pretty creative and romantic gesture towards Sonali. So in an act of protest, the students staged an in-school sit-in. They shared what had happened to Twitter and created a Facebook group.
I remember this.
This Facebook group would wind up going viral, amassing hundreds of thousands of followers, becoming the impromptu headquarters for James Tate supporters and people who wanted this prom ban reversed. The school's administration was well aware of the unrest that the decision caused, but felt as if it would die down shortly because, well, you know, students can only do so much. But what they underestimated was the power of social media.
Okay, sorry about that.
And this story spreading around the world and potentially going viral, which it did, and eventually it would land in the hands of the mainstream media.
Coons James Tate has been banned from the Shelton High School prom because of the way he asked his date to go to the big dance. Everybody seems to have an opinion on this story.
He got the girl, but guess what? Not the prom. James Tate put up these letters on the entrance of his Connecticut high school asking his friend to prom. She said yes, but the school said nope.
And News 8 is, of course, following the latest developments this morning as the public outcry grows for Shelton schools to let James Tate go to the prom. News 8's Kent Pierce is watching this outcry grow. You just have to watch the Facebook page to see that, huh?
Yeah, the Facebook page, they've gotten about 500 more people liking it just in the past hour.
Within 48 hours, James is...
I love this story because it's an example of how the fascism has gotten so bad in every aspect of our lives, from the government to the high schools to the fucking rules and our kids and all this shit, right? And I love this story about Give James his prom and all this because it's gotten so bad that it's not really out of the realm of possibility for us as human beings living in this piece of shit fascist country, right? It's not that fucking out of the realm of possibility that they might steal our prom from us, that they might steal our virginity from us, that they might steal our money from us or our taxes or whatever. And it's just kind of crazy. And we're like, oh man, it's just kind of normal when the high school says that you can't go to prom. That's kind of cool how they just crush your dreams like that. That's normal now. That's the new America, right? That's the America. I say it all the time. Every single day of this stream, there's one phrase that always comes up. Every single day that I've done this stream, right? Since day one, right? Here's the phrase. That's the America that I know. That's the America that I know that tries to kill this kid's dream of going to prom with their fucking fascism. Even in the high schools. What's the difference between us and the Gestapo? I don't see one.
Ban became a national headline, and it seemed like everyone was on James's side. Despite the mounting pressure both online and offline to reverse this ban, Headmaster Smith wasn't budging. In fact, she would actually go on a televised press conference and double down on the decision.
Shelton High School is a learning community where students are expected to meet high academic and behavioral expectations. There has been a practice at Shelton High School for many years that students receiving an in-school or out-of-school suspension after April 1st for any reason would not be allowed to attend the prom. This regulation is reinforced over the course of the spring by daily PA announcements, posted signage in common areas of the building and in classrooms, as well as informational letters and automated phone messages to parents. These communications are intended to remind our students and parents of the high school expectations and consequences.
James was understandably upset by the school's hardline stance on his prom ban, and on many occasions he would be invited to speak publicly on the matter in interviews. And you really can't.
And this destroyed him. This destroyed America. They were like, yeah, they stole his prom from him. Now, everybody wants him to believe that we're all going to get second desserts and we're all saved by Jesus when we're wrong like this, right? Not in modern America. You might believe that Jesus and the funds and the Kickstarter or whatever steps in and saves you from whatever fascism our country has fucking engaged in. But no.
Guys, he seems like such a chill dude and really just had his best intentions at heart.
Tate says he had hoped for a compromise, but is not surprised by the decision.
I don't think they would gain anything if
I'm not surprised either.
At this point, I think it was the best decision they could have made.
Today, you heard about obviously what the headmaster had said. She read from a brief statement, but basically, long story short, she stood firm and said that her decision is what it is, and it's not changing. What was your reaction to that when you heard?
Can't fight City Hall.
It seems.
Can't fight City Hall. Can't fight City Hall.
I at this point, they would gain nothing by.
Yeah, they gain nothing by giving you what you want. What would they gain from that? Like backing down? Yeah, then eventually everybody thinks that they can just push the school system around. The school system has to have strength too, you know? It sucks, but I mean, the school system does have to have strength. They have to show that they don't back up and...
But obviously I was disappointed, but my feelings still haven't changed because the outcome hasn't changed.
The headmaster wasn't budging, but this fight wasn't over, as it seemed like as every day passed, James would get more and more support. Popular figureheads and celebrities would come out of the woodwork to support him. He was on Jimmy Kimmel, and there were professional athletes who were once alumni of Shelton High who would speak out.
Yeah, because we're all fucking sick of the fascist fucking bullshit. Down to the high schools, even. We're fucking sick of your fascist bullshit that kills kids' dreams. We're fucking sick of it.
It seemed like everyone was on Team Tate and nobody was on Team Smith here.
I think it's really important to stand up against this ridiculous administration decision. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. So, anyways, we're all on your side. Hopefully, you guys work everything out.
Tate, I support you.
Nope.
I appreciate the fact that you did
Nope, he
ask
lost.
for prom over text, like most of your friends probably did. I thought it was nice, and I don't want you to take this as like a bad experience. I think what you did was nice, and who knows, maybe your headmistress, her heart made out of ice, will melt. Maybe you'll be able to go to prom.
Eventually, calls for this prom ban reversal got so loud that they reached government officials for the state of Connecticut. And this is where you would actually see a glimmer of hope for James Tate here. You can't make this shit up. Connecticut Congressman Jason Perillo and Sean Williams had been following the James Tate prom ban story since it broke in early May, and they had many of their constituents writing and calling into their offices requesting them to do something to reverse the ban. So they actually did. On May 13th, these two congressmen announced that they were working on drafting an amendment that specifically would prevent schools in the district from banning students from prom for a suspension occurring in the last month of the school year, instead giving schools the option to issue community service instead of a ban. So essentially, this was an entire amendment to a bill that specifically covered this situation that these two congressmen were writing at the time of this going down. And once the news came out that these two congressmen were on the case, Headmaster Smith finally folded. In a televised briefing, she announced that James Tate's ban would be reversed.
I have considered the effect that this incident has had on the individual student, on the entire student body and my staff.
Yeah, your fucking fascism and the fact that you kind of look like Donald fucking Trump and Donald fucking Trump Republicanism. That's what you kind of look like, you know? You kind of got that fascist look. The suit dummy cocksucker look. The suit dummy cocksucker look.
The community.
You got that frowny face, that hate look on Facebook, talking about your covfefe and your angry shit at 4 in the morning and killing people's fucking dreams. And you got that fascist hate look on your fucking face like Donald fucking Trump.
A focus on teaching and learning.
Yeah, crab face, no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Conservative fascist says no. Conservative fascist says no. No, 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 no. Conservative fascist says no.
No.
No, no, you can't go to prom. No, you can't pay less than $3.50 for a tank of gas. No, you can't lose more than less than 1 million people for COVID. No, you can't have decency in this country. No, you can't have policy when you run for a country. No, you you can't have decency. Blah, blah, blah. No, 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 you can't go to prom. America is fascist now. The answer is no, you can't do that. No, 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 no.
No, no,
no, no, no, no, no.
I have decided to implement alternate consequences on a case-by-case basis, beginning with James Tate and for other students who received internal suspension after April 1st, which would then permit some to attend the Shelton High School prom.
The impossible had been done. The James Tate supporters had gotten Headmaster Smith to reverse her ban. And this seemed like an impossible feat because getting school administration to reverse a punishment decision is just something that you don't hear of in high school systems. In an ironic twist of fate, the once prom banned James Tate was given impromptu prom king status by fellow classmates, and James and Sonali finally got to enjoy their prom together. The event was on June 4th. It was Hawaiian themed, and all rejoiced.
Tonight's theme, a night in Hawaiian paradise. This room is just waiting to explode. James and Sonali will sit at table 50 and enjoy prime rib. They came out of the limo. They're a sharp-looking couple, but that's all you're going to get. James and Sonali have decided...
So, you know, we can't always get what we want. We can't always get what we want because of the cocksucker, fucking asshole, fascists in this country. But we get what we need. But you get what you need. You know what I'm saying? You can't always get no, 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 no. You can't have what you want. No, no, no. Conservatives say no. Fascists, no, 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 no. Fascists, no. Fascists, no. Fascist says no. But, you know, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you get what you need in the end. And that's the message that, hey, the fascism won and shut up the place and fucked over our country and killed all of us and destroyed us all and probably ruined the country and killed half the fucking coral reefs and all this other shit. Yeah, the fascism fucking killed this country, you know. It did. It's just dead. It's a dead country. Dead and gone like God. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and so you can't always get what you want, which is decency. But if you try sometimes, you'll get what you need, which is a good, you know, a good ending to the story. Grandmaster says, we'll see, right? I look at these hopeful kids and I say, we'll see. They saw their hopes and dreams crushed by the fascists. So the Grandmaster says, we'll see. You see a smile on these kids' face right now. But what I see is victims of the fucking bullshit, fucking like laissez-faire fucking system. And so, you know, right now the story looks pretty good, but give them 10 years and tell me how well this went.
Not to do anymore.
For them to learn that not even their proms are fucking sacred. Nothing's sacred anymore. With the fascists having killed this country, taken over and co-opted the Republican Party and killed it. And, you know, fascist up the place with Donnie Trump.
More media interviews.
Donnie don't do as Donnie don't does.
Inside enjoying their prom, having a night to remember, and they certainly
Donnie Don't says no.
Come.
No, COVID's fine. Just shoot up bleach.
Okay.
Just shoot up bleach. You know, COVID's fine. Just shoot up bleach. No, COVID's fine. Just shoot up bleach.
When a disabled gaming YouTuber finds himself in a tough spot, he turns to the few hundred viewers of his channel to ask for support in buying a new wheelchair van. Eventually, Reddit would stumble across the plight of the troubled gamer, and the events that follow can only be described as miraculous. To begin, allow me to introduce the protagonist of today's story, Kevin Brighton.
My channel is about like retro gaming, like from NES to, I guess,
PlayStation 1. No, N64. Say it. N64.
So I'm not gonna put Wii in there because that's not retro.
Wii. Okay, Wii's acceptable. I liked it. It was a better answer.
Kevin is a YouTuber hailing from Cincinnati, Ohio. He's an avid gamer with a keen interest in retro handheld.
My God, that piece of shit game is so fucking awesome. I really wish I could play it right now. That piece of shit game looks really good to me. Oh my fucking God. I want to play that game so bad. What's wrong with me? I am an addict, and it's like he just lined out. It's seriously like this. It's so bad. I'm a fucking heroin addict, and this guy just laid out like a baseball bat line. A black tar fucking heroin on the fucking, on the table side dresser, the bedside dresser, and he's like, come hit this, and you're like, really, dude? You just laid out like $750 worth of black tar heroin in a line, and he's like, yeah, come hit this, and you look at the Godzilla handheld, and you're like, oh my fucking God, I need that right now. I need it like heroin.
The name of his YouTube channel, Handheld Game Fan, which he started over 13.
You ever had an addiction worse than heroin? 'Cause I have. Yeah, I would never rob or steal or hurt anybody for heroin. But video games? Oof. Yeah, let's say the grid went down and there's no more cops and everybody defends their own home and all the milk drinkers ended up drinking blood, by the end of it. And all the milk drinkers are drinking blood because they're out of water. And like you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, I did pretty well. I'm smart. I didn't give up. I didn't fucking believe in their lies. And I'm like got my own place and I'm doing well. I'm off the grid and all this other stuff. And you're like, oh man, right? And like when that happens, right? Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wage war on the other people around me and steal their video games from them and their solar power.
Approaching Stargate.
And their computers, their gaming computers, and their RAM and their video cards and their Bitcoin farming bullshit and all that stuff. I'm going to confiscate it from them. Anybody in my county. You know what I'm saying? Anybody in my motherfucking county who's got a fucking gaming computer, come hell or fucking high water, I'll trade you dope. I'll trade you sex. I'll trade you murder. I'll trade you anything for those fucking video games. You know what I'm saying? You ever had a fucking addiction 100 times worse than heroin? That's video games. And when they lay them out like this, and they're like, look at this thing. Look at this. I literally have a crazier fucking reaction than if a heroin junkie were to look at 10,000 pounds of heroin, right? What does 10,000 pounds of fucking heroin look like or whatever, right? Drug Enforcement Administration busts some stupid asshole for some fucking thing or whatever. And so if you're a heroin junkie and you see a fucking pile of dope like this or whatever, if you're like a meth junkie or whatever, you see a fucking pile of dope like this and you're like, oh my fucking God, right?
The global pandemic doesn't.
You see how this guy's stacking this dope, right? You see all that dope right there? That's video games for me. Fuck that dope. Dope is weak ass shit compared to fucking video games. You ever seen a 13-year-old in the fucking throes of a complete video game addiction? Heroin couldn't hope to be. Fucking fentanyl couldn't hope to be as bad. Couldn't hope to be. Fentanyl is a walk in the fucking park compared to MMORPGs. I would much rather die of fentanyl than die a MMO addict. I mean, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna die an MMO addict, but trust me. Like, you could say, here's 10,000 pounds of heroin, or you could say, here's a GameStop, right? Here's a GameStop. Which one am I gonna go for, right? Is it the GameStop, right? Oh my god, it's like a heroin candy store. It's like a fucking heroin candy store. Do you see it? See all the pretty colors designed to snare children into the worst drug known to mankind's history. The worst drug that's ever gonna be in mankind's history is video gaming. Absolutely. Does it kill us? No, but it is far, far, far more addictive. And yeah, I see this Godzilla King of the Monsters fucking handheld, and I remember how good the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles handheld actually was, you know? It actually was a fucking dope-ass game. There was like 5 positions. You were on the left wall, you were on the right wall, you were in the center of the fucking scene, or you were jumping up and kicking some dude's ass who was throwing stars from the ceiling, or you were like over there on the left and you were like crouching about to drop kick somebody, right? You're either here, you're there, you're there, or you're there, or you're there. There's like 5 points on the screen that you can be at. And then there's like the foot's attacking, or in this case it would be Mothra or whatever. And you're like, oh, Mothra attacked again. And you jump to the one other position of the 4 that you can assume. And you press the big button on the right. You go click, 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 click. And it's one of the most addictive fucking forms of gaming that there is. I take this shit over Final Fantasy fucking 14. I absolutely would. I would take Godzilla King of the fucking Monsters over Final Fantasy 14. And this is a message to Yoshi P. Why did you let Final Fantasy 11 die? I'll choose 11 over Godzilla King of the Monsters, but I'm choosing Godzilla King of the Monsters over Final Fantasy 14. Absolutely. No, hands down. 14 isn't fun. Godzilla King of the Monsters is. And, yeah, so...
handhelds, hence the name of his YouTube channel, Handheld Game Fan.
Yeah, sure. You know, we can all sneer at him. Haha, he's the Game Boy kid or whatever. But nah, man, handhelds are straight up fun. They're always fun. You can sit there for 8 hours. Doesn't fucking matter. It's still fucking fun. It's a game that's designed around fun. It doesn't have fucking, you know, transactions or you gotta farm for 5 hours or any of that shit. It's just pure, unadulterated. I kicked your ass with the Ninja Turtle or the Godzilla or whatever thing all day long. There's no cut. There's no. What do they cut modern games with? Right? False difficulty. There's no. There's no bullet sponge or one shot. You know, you got a good 3 or 4 hits as the Ninja Turtles handheld, you know. Do you guys remember the Ninja Turtles handheld? Because I do. This was the hot shit on the streets. Absolutely was. I got to get off this crafting bench. It's driving me fucking crazy. Why did you design it like that, you fucking idiots? Why can't you design a video game well? You ever thought about how bad 20 minutes of that fucking woods pounding sound would be? It's like, imagine if you were chained to a bed naked after somebody raped you, and as they're leaving, they like slam the door, and the door causes your CD player to fucking skip, and then your CD player skips for the 13 hours that you're fucking handcuffed to the fucking bed. That's what I fucking call this, like, chopping sound that you did. That's the form of fucking sound rape. It's like sound abuse. This sound abuse that you're up to is disgusting. Get a fucking clue about fucking design and get this repetitive chopping sound the fuck out of here, you clueless assholes. This would have been appropriate in a Super Nintendo game from 1994. Get your fucking stupid, archaic shit the fuck out of my modern MMOs. Nobody wants to hear some dude chopping on a tree for 25 fucking minutes while they're alt-tab trying to figure out what green wood can be turned into. Nobody wants to hear somebody chop all fucking day, just like a fucking nattering on Bethesda NPC. Nobody wants to hear that shit either. Nobody wants to hear your sirens and your single-player shooters. Nobody wants to hear a siren go off and for an hour and a half in your piece of crap level that's too long. Get your bullshit design out of these fucking modern games right the fuck now, or I will fucking money boycott your fucking ass. And I'll be like, yeah, you know why I left New World? The wood shop. And they're like, you left the New World because of woodworking? Yeah, I left New World because of the wood shop. Because for some reason, I always end up AFKing on the wood shop for some reason, right? And it just chops and chops and chops and chops. And when you wake up to how really bad this design is, you begin to realize that, yeah, this guy would sound torture you like some kind of veritable fucking waterboard torture for the rest of all of eternity. Like, literally, it's like worse than that scene in Clockwork Orange when he's had his eyes taped open or whatever. Like, literally, if you were like forced to listen to this wood shopping for the rest of eternity like I'm doing right now, you would be like, why is this sound torture so popular in modern design? What in the literal fuck is wrong with you piece of shit developers? What is wrong with you that you do shit like this? Disgusting. Disgusting. And I can go to any of the games that I play and I can show you the sound torture. It's sound torture. We'll call it what it is. I would rather have Guantanamo fucking Bay torture than this sound going off for the rest of my fucking life. I really would. If somebody was like, if you had to listen to the New World woodshop torture or take Guantanamo Bay, would you rather have 3 years of Guantanamo Bay butt rape or 10 years of the woodshop in New World? I'd be like, I'll take Guantanamo Bay.
Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active.
And you as developers need to wake the fuck up. You need to wake the fuck up to it. You need to wake up to the torture that you put us through with this horse shit. And wake up to it, you clueless fucking assholes. And I'm sure as fuck publishing this for all of eternity right now tonight. And I hope you fucking hear it. Your sound torture is unacceptable! Unacceptable in 2024. Stop doing it. Your fucking footsteps, your fucking sound torture, your fucking repetitive noise. Fuck your repetitive fucking clueless asshole design that fucking tortures my brain for trying to play your game. You know what's a good example of this? Torghast. Or, fuck. Listen to that guy. Now I stopped and now you gotta torture me with his sound. So it's like you double down on it too. Why? You don't know how to design games? You have billions of dollars from designing games, but you don't know how to design games? Fucking assholes. This makes you an asshole in my fucking book. New World developer, this makes you an asshole in my fucking book. I don't care if your fucking game fails. That makes you an asshole in my fucking book. You knew better than to do stupid shit like that. I know better. When I hear that sound, I'm like, nope, nope, nope. Cardinal sin. Cardinal red card. Fail, fail, fail. Bad design. Cardinal sin. Sound torture. And I would have been like, nope, get it out of my game or you can't work here. Get it out of my game. That's sound torture. Get it the fuck out of here. Your fucking instrument torture with your sound devices all the fucking time. It's like literally trying to play your game reminds me of like if I was like in a World War II fucking battle and you're playing sound warfare to try and fucking like sap the will out of my troops or whatever. That's what that shit sounds like to me when I fucking stand at that woodshop table. Fuck your modern design and your clueless asshole fuckery. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of you making me fucking sick with your sound torture since 1993. And guess what? The same sirens that were in Wolfenstein, the enemy, whatever it is, or sorry, the Wolfenstein, the New Order, right? The same sirens that were in Wolfenstein, the New Order in 2001 or whatever, 2006 or whatever it is, like fucking the same sirens that were in that bullshit ass game are the same bullshit that you put in this woodshop here in this game. You gotta stop fucking sound torturing us. Stop sound torturing us in 2024 now. Your earworms and your fucking bullshit on your login screens and your repetitive noise all the time. Some flutes going on in the background. You hear it? You can hear it. I can't even talk without your sound torture fucking playing over me. No matter where I go. You hear it? This is like UIs freaking out, going wah, wah, wah. Hear the nasty sounds going on all the time? Nasty footprints and fucking nasty sounds going off all the fucking time to the point where I'm like, yeah, I'd rather turn your fucking sound completely the fuck off. Are you guys even fucking aware of this? Are you aware of how much torture it actually is? It's like chalks going, like it's like nails going off on a chalkboard for the how many thousands of hours do I have? You know? The Rust sounds are like this. The WoW sounds are really like this. Why can't you fucking get your sound right? You have all that fucking money, but shit, you can't even get your sounds right. Like, come on, man. What happened to you as an industry? You stopped working in 2004 and you've just been phoning in YOLO for goddamn 19 years or something like that, and I'll call your fucking asses on it. You sound torture me like this anymore, I won't buy your fucking game. No. I will not buy your game if you sound torture me like this every single fucking day of my fucking life. I will not do it. I've been doing it for 27 fucking years. Dealing with the digital serfdom and not being able to make money in my chosen profession and your industry because you have to have all the money or whatever, right? Is one thing that I can put up with, but I really can't put up with your goddamn sound torture. Your sound torture is entirely fucking unacceptable. It's like waterboarding. Most of the fucking time. This guy, hear him? Hear it? It's like waterboard torture, you fucking clueless fucking assholes. Get a fucking clue. This guy warping sounds horrible. Sounds like a ghost being raped. Seriously. Sounds horrible. Fucking horrible. I'm not saying get better sounds. I'm saying have a fucking clue that we play these games for thousands of hours, and when you play the same repetitive noise over and over and over and over again, it affects our sanity and causes us to go really angry and fat and bald. It's your sound. It is. Listen to this guy walking around. It sounds like a rat that's chewing on your like your baseboard. That's what those the footsteps sound like to me. Listen to it. Kind of sounds like a rat chewing at a baseboard, you know? It's a really foul sound. And I don't know why you poisoned your fucking game with it. Why don't you have a footsteps fucking meter? Like, come on, man. Like, the sound effects are actually like 5 different sliders. It's one slider, but it actually comprises 5 different areas of the sound design, the sound effects bar. So I can't get your sound torture the fuck out of here. So here is the Konami Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles handheld. It is far more fun than Fortnite. And I'll go to my grave saying this. This is far more fun than all of Fortnite combined. This handheld is a lot more fun than you could ever have on Fortnite. And I mean it. There's more genuine fun to be had from this Konami fucking handheld than you could have in Fortnite. I'm dead serious. I wish it wasn't like that, but it is. It is like that. I mean what I say. This handheld is far more entertaining than all of Fortnite combined. I'm sorry, but it is.
Started over 13 years ago. Whatever obscure handheld game you can think of, there's a pretty good chance that Kevin has reviewed it on his channel. My man's been at this for a long time.
Okay, YouTube, this is Sonic 2.
And that's what's wrong with the gaming industry, right? This guy cares more about handhelds because he's actually smart. Now, you might think he's whatever, but, like, trust me, this guy's actually smart. He knows where the fun is, and there's more fun on this handheld than New World.
This is Mega Man 3. Super Street Fighter 2's 101 Dalmatians.
Shit's fun as hell.
Combat. Making friends in this game.
Because, like, there's 5 images, and they've got to make those 5 images count. They've got to make the gameplay fucking count. So one of the things that they didn't fucking sacrifice, like every other fucking modern game developer, even Larian, is they didn't sacrifice fun. You know, fun is the one thing that this device is very, 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 very good at. I wouldn't say it's good at telling a story. I wouldn't say it's good at combat. I wouldn't say it's good at particularly anything that we say is good about modern games. But the fun level is off the fucking hook.
Sucks. The Flintstones. The X-Men. Subscribe. And...
So you might think dumb when you see this guy, but I think genius, because he's actually a lot more in touch with himself than most people. He knows that that handheld has given him more joy than all of the Wii console.
Stay tuned for videos.
Needless to say,
yeah, and he's not fucking around. He knows what he's doing. He's not stupid, like most of the people in this industry.
This is Kevin's passion. He genuinely enjoys sharing these obscure handhelds with a few online strangers who care to tune in.
Fuck yeah, the guy actually cared about something. It's fucking rare in the modern age, isn't it? Oh man, if you care about a political opinion, or you actually hate a candidate, you actually would squeeze the trigger and kill Trump, you know what I'm saying? Plot and kill him, you know? If you actually would do that, you know? Like fucking that kind of thing. Like fucking like, you know, it's like that kind of passion these days is derided. But I mean, like, I respect it. I respect somebody who really cares about what they do so much that they'll do it for free for the rest of their fucking lives, whether or not somebody cares about it or not. That's the vibe that I'm on.
It's a way for him to socialize and express himself, something that he's not
yeah,
able to.
Like honestly, I wouldn't. Let's see. You could offer to pay me $1,000 to talk to a random human. I would do it, but I mean for the money.
Do as effectively in the real world. As mentioned in the introduction, Kevin suffers from cerebral palsy, a neurological disorder that not only affects his speech but the motor.
Yeah, and so somebody went after him, didn't they?
Ability of his legs. This has left Kevin unable to walk and wheelchair bound. As a result of this, Kevin lives with family and is dependent on them and his wife Stephanie financially and for many of his activities of daily living. This obviously poses a variety of challenges, especially in regard to experiencing the outside world, you know, touching grass as they say. But Kevin's loving wife Stephanie has always been diligent about getting him out of the house, allowing him to socialize with others with the help of what will become the focal point of this story, their wheelchair-accessible van. Using their van, Stephanie and Kevin would go to malls, flea markets, and other various social gatherings. It was Kevin's portal to the outside world. That portal would be unfortunately closed. On May 26th of 2017, Kevin would upload an uncharacteristically depressing video to his YouTube channel, informing viewers that his wheelchair-accessible van, well, it had broken down, essentially trapping him in his home. Apparently, the family's financial situation at the time was tight. Between Stephanie's nursing home job and Kevin's parents' finances already being spread thin from medical bills, there was no money available to repair the van.
I'll survive, but it's really tough on both of us. I'm trapped. I can't do what I want. And I really don't want to ask, but if you guys could really help out, it'd be really great. I mean, we don't know what else to do. I mean, this is like a last resort thing here, so we really don't want to do this, but kind of need to, but thanks for watching, guys.
His video was a humble request, asking fans to chip in to a GoFundMe page created for his family, in the hopes that with a bit of extra cash, they could find some kind of travel solution for Kevin. Now, one might imagine a channel with just over 1,000 subscribers and videos only cracking about 100 views, that this plea for help would fall on deaf ears. But oddly enough, that's not what happened. These fans truly were dedicated, and in a matter of about a week or so, they raised $1,000 for him.
Update video here on how the GoFundMe's going. It's going really well, which I'm really surprised. It's really nice to know that people around the world are willing to help me out. I just wanted to thank you guys for all the support we've been getting. It's hard. It's hard on me especially, because I don't have my independence. That's what it feels like. Like I said, thanks guys. Everybody that supported me means a lot. Love you guys, thanks a lot.
This $1,000 by itself is extremely impressive, but nobody could have predicted what would happen next. On June 13th of 2017, a Redditor named Sean Titus would share a video from Kevin's Handheld Game YouTube channel where he discussed the wheelchair van dilemma. And the plight of this stranded wheelchair-bound gamer seemed to emotionally resonate with the Reddit community.
Hate to see genuine people down on their luck.
Just donated $100. Thanks for the heads up, OP.
Can we get the link to donate? Fuck yeah! Let's help this guy!
Almost immediately, folks became galvanized behind the cause. They wanted to help this dude out. The post on our videos exploded, eventually making it to the front page of Reddit. And when something makes it to the front page, you're talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people stumbling upon this request to fix.
It's almost like it's like a philanthropy. They're like philanthropy thugs. They like want to push their fucking ideal of helping people so crazy, so powerfully, that it makes like international fucking news. But when it comes to the actual problems, they're never to be seen.
Fix this guy's wheelchair van. Needless to say, the GoFundMe reacted accordingly.
Like they'll show up and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna make my stand here as decency and help this guy or whatever." But then you try to bring up something like Syria and they're like, "Meh." You know, or Assad or something like that, and they're like, "Meh," you know. But you bring up like the wheelchair van guy, and it's cool. It's good that they still have hearts and they have some sympathy and they want to save somebody. I get that, but there's a lot worse problems in the world. You know, this guy's gonna live. He's gonna get his van sooner or later. They'll get out of that situation. Trust me. The world will die. And you guys seem to be like super Nazi, basically. Super Nazi about pushing out that philanthropic dick right in our fucking faces. And I'm sorry, but that thoughts and prayer bullshit, I'll call you on it. Republican bullshit. Thoughts and prayers. Prayers, my fucking ass, yeah. So like I like that they're helping somebody, and it is a tearjerker and a good, you know, feel good story and all that. But then I think about, oh cool, so you bought this guy a wheelchair van. That's cool. How many old veterans died in this country last night? Due to deprivation, due to cold. Let's go fix that. I mean, the wheelchair van is another problem. But I'd rather get the 85-year-old veterans off the street. You know? This guy's got a bad problem too, and we should help him too. But there's way worse problems than this. And that internet, that fake internet save you shit. It's like, it's, yeah, but the opposite of cancel. It's like savior. It's like, oh, he got saviored, you know? They've got like a savior fucking Captain Save-A-Ho complex. And I like it because it helps people. And it's good. It's a good thing. But when you get them down to something that actually matters, never is a vote to be found. Never is a vote to be found, you know? Something that actually matters, nope, they'll never be seen. And so I'm bitter about it. I'm like, yeah, cool, you guys show that you had a spirit and a soul finally. And it was over some middle-class white dude. Not South Central. And I'm sorry. It just doesn't play with me. Sorry.
Wait, what?
What?
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah. They came through. Yeah, they bought you.
That's what they did. Somebody just said we're at 5,040. That's freaking crazy. Oh my god.
It's staged.
Oh my god.
It's staged. The entire thing is staged. You guys got taken advantage of. This guy is an actor.
But Jesus.
Somebody gave $800.
No, he's not an actor. Never mind. It's It's charity. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's charity. We'll leave it at that.
Whoever
Lucas Stalker.
Somebody donated $800. Yeah, I got that.
That's fucking sad. Oh my god.
So you guys help the middle class white dude, but not Chirac. You guys want to bail out. You guys want to bail out fucking Israel. But we've got kids starving in our own streets. You know? And yeah, I'm glad that you grew a heart. Yeah, that's the cliche I'm gonna use here. I'm glad that you guys grew a heart. It's kind of like the Grinch. We all kind of thought that you were like the Grinch, and way down inside you can see that little tiny blood vessel pop of where your heart used to be. We all kind of thought that the public and the government had no heart and no love or whatever. So we're really surprised when they do. But when your little Grinch heart grows 3 sizes fucking bigger, please don't reward middle-class white people. Please take care of somebody in this country that actually has a problem beyond poverty.
God, guys.
What's Desi?
I don't know, man.
Your philanthropy, it's not a good look to me. It actually kind of like shows me how little you actually care about the people. I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it at that. You want to say Bill Gates is the greatest man who's ever lived because of his goddamn philanthropy, because of how much money he spent? I think about the money that he didn't spend in the right places. Yeah, kind of like that movie. Charlie Wilson's War, where they talk about budgets for defenses and stuff like that, and you're like, well, we could buy the Russian helicopter. We could buy the heat-seeking RPG missile launcher to actually take out the Russian Hind helicopter that scared the Metal Gear bejesus out of us, right? In that whole thing. Or we can just fight a Cold War where we never acknowledge that the Soviets are killing Kazakhstan people or whatever it is, and that we like need to help these people shoot down those fucking helicopters, right? So you can continue to just throw money at the poor people, or you can buy the RPGs to shoot down the helicopters. Which do you do? These people chose to throw money at a middle-class white person rather than a lot of other starving, hysterical, naked masses in this country. And I'm sorry, but your philanthropy, I know it's a feel-good fucking story on the fucking internet, but to me, it's a feel-good debacle on the fucking internet. And I'm not saying don't be charitable or don't help people or don't look out for them when they're down. I'm saying there's people with worse problems than this. And when you grew a heart for somebody that was doing fine, you know, up on the tree. They've still got a nice limb and they're hanging on to the tree branch and they're holding on to the American dream. They're not going to starve tomorrow. And I see you throw $5,000 at this middle-class white person who's holding on a very narrow stem on a tree. And I look down at the ground, at the apples, our wonderful American apples that are rotting, that have fallen off of the branch in the tree and are down in our gutters dying. And I think about how you just spent $5,000 on this nice, shiny red apple midway up the tree that hasn't even fallen to the ground yet. And I think about the rotting apples down there who have died in the gutter. And I think, yeah, your philanthropy, even if it's Reddit-based and doesn't have a whole lot of logic behind it, is kind of sickening to me. Not that you should do it or that where you spent your money or any of that. I'm saying anybody with a fucking brain could easily link 25 or 30 things in that fucking Reddit that are a lot better than this white middle class person. And I know I'm boiling him down to that, but I mean, that's what he is. I've never been bailed out. I mean, I got bailed out by the government when I was older, when I was like 40. But I mean, not when I was a kid, not when I was an adult, not while I was working for 20 years. I was never bailed out by anybody like this. And so I see somebody who has a van. I haven't had a car since 2015. It's been 8 years since I've had a car. You know what I'm saying? This guy had a van that didn't run. I get it that they're facing a lot of fucking problems. But when you haven't even had a car in 10 years, you see what these people spend their money on trying to save somebody, and you're like, you know what I want? A Volkswagen Car of the People program done by the government where everybody in this fucking... You want to know how the Nazis came to power? They're going to tell you that everybody was poor and there was a lot of desperation in the Treaty of Versailles and all this other stuff. But in reality, you want to know how the Nazi Party came to power? Hitler made sure that every motherfucking German could get a car for $300. It's the Volkswagen... the Beetle. It's all over America. You've seen them before. This is why we had to fight World War II. When Hitler decided that everybody in Germany should have a nice, cheap transportation for $300, seriously, even the poorest person in the country, he price-fixed cars, and he made sure that everybody could get to their job, right? And that's why we fought World War II, believe it or not. When the country came back from the worst poverty any country has ever faced, basically, the Treaty of Versailles, after causing World War I and all this shit, you know, they were the world's enemy. They were treated so badly. I have a lot of sympathy for the fucking Germans. I don't like Nazis and fuck Hitler and all this, but I do like Germans and, like, you know, and that war was out of necessity. Their country was dying the same way as ours is. And the difference is you blow $5,000 on a middle-class fucking white person? What, because he's got a fucking sob story? I've got a fucking sob story. You think this guy's fucking, like, disabled van makes your little tear-jerker hearts run? I'll tell you some fucking sob stories that aren't even mine. And how you are an asshole for giving this guy $5,000. Asshole.
Support.
This guy's crying because he just can't even imagine that you guys picked him, because I can't either. He can't imagine that you picked him. And I can't either, really. I don't know why you did. It's kind of crazy. It's like you chose to be Jesus or Santa Claus and you're going to perform some fucking miracle on Christmas morning or something. And you pick some fucking random chimney to come down. It's really fucking weird when you're in the ghetto and you know that some kids don't even have any presents. And this guy's whining about how his present broke down. You know? But there's kids in the ghetto that don't even have presents. God damn it. And yeah, that's my shitty argument against most philanthropy. You know, saying philanthropy is good and we need to help people. Charity's a good thing. But like how you spend it is not. Most of the times when I see charity spend money, I'm like, you did what? You did what? You spent how much? I've got an uglier word for it. You call it charity.
Thank you so much.
I've got an uglier word for it, my friends. Misappropriation. And somebody should call you on it.
For that donation, it means a lot to me. I can't believe you did that.
Yeah, he's crying because he can't even conceive that you helped him. Nobody's ever helped him before. I know it. I know the feeling. He just can't conceive of it. He's like, wow, why did they randomly pick me? I don't know. I don't know why they randomly picked you. There's a lot worse victims in this country than you, Mr. Privileged white person and the middle class with a nice minivan. There's a lot of fucking people in this country who could work for 10 years and not reach that. You know? Like it's a shitty situation we're in now, and you bail out that middle class person. I think, okay, let's go save Donald Trump or something. Let's go save Donald Trump from his lawsuits then. Let's go. You want to save that privileged middle class person? And I'm sorry, if you've never come up in the lower class, you just wouldn't understand. I would say most of the people in my stream watching my channel come from the middle class and they don't like this vitriol. I guarantee it. If you were from the fucking lower class, you'd understand. You'd fucking understand. I will never give a middle class motherfucker $5,000 ever. Never, ever, ever. Never, 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 never. I wouldn't condone the philanthropy if people tried. I'd be like, no, we got problems in Chirac and South Central and motherfucking like New York and shit. We have people fucking dying of trank in Baltimore and shit. And you want to bail out this middle class white guy because he's what? Because he's got Asperger's? And I know, and it sucks. It's the worst argument, like, you know. But like I felt that same way about my help. I felt that same way about me. I was like, why are you helping me? I didn't really understand it. I was like, I get it, but I don't though. I don't though. Like you helped me when I was doing better. But when I was on the streets and a man had tried to kill me and had threatened to murder my girlfriend and just wrecked me and destroy my life and all this other shit, you guys were nowhere to be fucking seen. But the minute that I was ready to re-enter the middle class and become a taxpayer again and go back to work and all this other stuff, you were like, oh, we'll help you now. We'll get you off the streets and we'll take care of you. We'll put you in the madhouse and get you better again. And all this other shit. And it's like kind of weird. It kind of seems like you want me to be a Matrix battery. And you're far more likely to spend the money on a Matrix battery than you are somebody dying in the ghetto of poverty, you know? I have a lot of friends who are dying in the ghetto of poverty right now as I speak, you know? You give this fucking privileged middle-class white kid $5,000 for a sob story on fucking Reddit. And I'm like, yeah, no wonder Bitcoin is so popular. People don't care about their money. Look at him cry. He's like, oh my God. And it's such a feel-good story, but it's also sort of feels bad, though. Feels bad, man. Feels bad, man. Because it's like, oh. Anyways.
In total, nearly $49,000 was raised thanks to the thousands of Reddit benefactors.
$49,000. Is he gonna buy a Rolls Royce for his broken down minivan? Is he gonna buy a Rolls Royce instead of the broken down minivan? Is that kind of what's going on here? Because I'm sorry, most minivans, even the fucking Chrysler Town and Country, brand new, is like 47 grand. What the fuck did he need that much money for? I'm sorry, I know it sounds evil, but I think it's evil to go and save the middle class. This guy is middle class. He's as middle class as they come. I think it's evil to save the middle class. That's the point, that they're the middle class. They can take care of themselves. They have money. They can pay for health insurance. They can pay to get their van fixed if they have spent their money correctly. Like, the middle class has money. How dare you bail him out? How dare you bail the banks out? Like, I don't know, man.
Anticipated. And Kevin, to say the least, was blown away by
Yeah,
all
I'm
the
blown
support.
away by
So
it
now
too.
that the
What
funds
the
were in
fuck
order,
is
it's
my
time to fix
blown
up that
away?
wheelchair van and get Kevin back on the road. Well, this is when a Redditor who just so happens to be a mechanic named Triton
I'm not
V8 guy
saying,
steps up to the plate.
you know, I'm not saying don't help the guy. I'm saying you're fucking bleed, like you're bleed. Now, I'm a bleeding heart left-wing liberal, ultra liberal. You understand me? I'm ultra fucking liberal, way ultra liberal than you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm hitting you for being bleeding heart. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, the money shouldn't be going to the rich, white, privileged middle class. No, no, no. They have money. That guy's not going to die if he doesn't get his minivan. Maybe in the ghetto you might.
Triton worked for a car dealership in Ohio, about 5 hours away from where Kevin...
Ah, damn it, man. Like, how the fuck dare you bail out this middle-class motherfucker? I don't care if he's got fucking disability or not. How dare you bail out a middle-class person in America in the last 50 years? That's like going on down past Skid Row to the privileged cigar bar and handing the motherfucker a $50 bill and being like, you can get off the streets now, sonny. And he's smoking the cigar at his cigar bar. And he's like, oh yeah, I don't really have any problems. I'm the rich white middle class. But, thanks. That's like what that's literally what I liken this to. Don't hand the middle class 50 grand. That's like giving Scrooge McDuck a stack of 20s. Come on now.
Kevin lived. He happened to stumble upon the post detailing Kevin's van situation when it was on Reddit's front page. Well, Triton V8 guy, he actually offers to fix the van for free. And the dude wasn't just blowing smoke up people's asses.
No, he really wanted to help the guy, and it's almost a form of tribalism, sort of. They want to unite under some kind of fucking banner. Oh, this guy got a raw deal. We've got to save him. Your Jesus Christ pose comes across as scrub. It's a scrub pose. Your Jesus Christ pose is sickening to me. Oh, save me, Jesus Christ, in the middle class, please. My minivan won't work. Jesus fucking Christ. Must be nice to have a minivan.
He actually did it. Triton would drive to Kevin's house, pick up the van, take it to his shop, and follow through with his promise. And by the summer, this legendary wheelchair accessible van...
Oh, good. So he got to keep the 48 grand. They fixed this van for him anyways. And this was a feel-good story of the century or whatever. And I know you guys all want to be Brock's people or whatever, Bart's people. This is an episode I call Bart's people, right? I know you guys all want to be Bart's people. But, yeah, your sensationalism is sus. And the Simpsons made fun of you for it, and they should have.
Was back on the road.
This is one of Bart's people, you know? Yeah, he's privileged and he's white and he's in the middle class. We gotta help him.
Was once again a free man. And you can really just tell how much.
Yeah,
all
he
of
was
this
trapped in his middle van. He was trapped because his soccer mom minivan wouldn't run in his middle class life. Oh no, Napoleon couldn't get to school in his minivan. You know. I'm sorry, but my sympathy isn't there. It's not there. Oh no, Whitey couldn't get to the video game store. You know. It's like, ugh.
We're gonna be able to do so much stuff.
Yeah.
That we never would ever be able to afford, ever.
When you have a life where they never did show you any fucking sympathy for any of the fucking shit that they straddled you with. You look at some other motherfucker that got saved, and it's not survival's guilt, it's survivor's hatred. It's like survivor's hatred, this. It's like, Jesus Christ, man, you came through the same Lodz ghetto that I did, but you're whining and you got saved.
It's crazy. I'm laughing because I'm so freaking excited.
Now, needless to say, this event was quite the wholesome endeavor. Thousands of anonymous strangers
You understand why I
coming
hate
together to help
humans?
someone
Why I
less
can't
fortunate.
shed a
He
tear?
was a YouTuber who had
You know, I can't shed a tear for them. I don't care. I don't care what happens to them. I hope they fucking die drinking each other's blood. Straight up. When you've had your blood sucked your entire fucking life by the vampires, you're like, well, I hope the world dies of vampirism. You know?
had dedicated nearly 9 years of his life at the time.
And they are. They're
playing
sucking
games
each
for-
other off pretty good, aren't they? With their fucking $5 a gallon of gas and their fucking, their sales taxes and their fucking inflation and all this. They're sucking each other off into that grave pretty good, aren't they?
A virtually non-existent audience. He was a disabled person who, despite his unfortunate circumstances, always seemed to have a positive outlook on life. Kevin was a guy that simply needed a break, and the internet was kind enough to give him one. One can only hope that a similar series of events plays out in the future for someone else in need.
It's a bunch of white people trying to play the Jesus Christ pose. God helps those who help themselves.
I just want to say thank you to everybody. I don't even know how many people to thank. There's so many people.
So you might be asking, since the van was repaired for free, what happened?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, but I'm probably gonna sing here. I'm gonna sing. I'm so sorry, and I know that I'm not gonna sing well either because I'm drunk and I'm tired. But I'm gonna sing Jesus Christ Pose by fucking Soundgarden. You got your nice Jesus Christ pose, but I'm staring at you like, what? Understand me in your Jesus Christ pose. Arms held out like you've been carrying alone. And you swear to me you don't wanna be my slave. But you're staring at me like I need to be saved. Saved. Like I need to be saved. In your Jesus Christ pose. In your Jesus Christ pose. Arms held out in your Jesus Christ pose. Thorns and shroud like it's coming of the Lord. And I swear to you, I would never feed you pain. But you're staring at me like I'm driving the nails, like I'm driving the nails, like I'm driving the nails, nails, nails. In your Jesus Christ pose. 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 Arms held out in your Jesus Christ pose. Thorns and a shroud like it's the coming of the Lord. And would it pain you more to walk on water more than to wear a crown of thorns? Wouldn't pain me more to bury you rich than to bury you poor. In a Jesus Christ pose. Nothing seems to kill me, no matter how hard I try. Nothing is closing my eyes. Nothing can beat me down for your pain or to lie. No. And nothing seems to break me, no matter how far I fall. Nothing can break me at all. Not one for giving up, though not invincible. I've given everything I need. Give you everything I own. Giving me could at least be ours alone. I've given everything I could to blow it to hell and gone. Burrow down and blow up the outside. Blow up the outside. Blow up the outside world. Someone tried to tell me something. Don't let the world bring you down. Nothing can do me in before I do myself. So save it for your own and the ones you can help. No, the thing I need. I give you everything I own. Giving it could at least be ours alone. I've given everything I could to blow it to hell and gone. Burrow down in and blow up the outside. Blow up the outside. Blow up the outside world. Da, na, 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 na. Wanna make it understood. Wanting though I never would. Trying though I know it's wrong. Blowing into hell and gone. Wishing though I never could. Blow up the outside. Blow up the outside. Blow up the outside. Blow up the outside world. Outside, blow up the 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 outside. Blow up the outside, 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 blow up the outside. Blow up the outside. That's what I have to say to your fucking philanthropy in your Jesus Christ pose. I'll blow up the outside world, bitch. And fuck your sound torture.
Happened to all the GoFundMe donation money. After corresponding with Kevin for this video, he tells me that the money went to a variety of sources, all of which benefited him and the family directly. Some went towards purchasing a state-of-the-art portable power chair which would allow Kevin to easily travel in non-wheelchair equipped vehicles, as the chair could now be stowed in practically any vehicle's trunk. This would come in handy as unfortunately the wheelchair-accessible van would break down again and pretty much reach the end of its lifespan, and they didn't have enough money to outright buy a brand new van. So what they did makes sense. Why not take the more resourceful option and just get a wheelchair that works with any car? Other money went to pay for old medical bills accrued by Kevin and his brother. A Braille note-taker device was also purchased for Kevin's brother. While the old van is no more, Kevin assured me that him and his wife have transport. They were able to purchase an SUV which can easily be traveled in thanks to that portable power chair. Oh, and he also bought a Nintendo Switch with some of that money, but I don't think the donators will mind too much. Hell, he plays games on it for his channel anyways.
There's the Switch. The neon Switch.
And speaking of his channel, Kevin continues to upload videos to the Handheld Game Review channel to this day. Feel free to check out his channel, the link is in the description box. And to wrap things up here...
Yeah, he seems cool. I really like him, you know? What's his name again?
I have an exclusive video. This channel continues to upload videos.
My problem is not with him. My problem was with the people. They're fucking misguided with their misappropriation.
The Handheld Game Review channel to this day.
Handheld Game Review channel. Fuck yeah. Let's us, Handheld Game Review channel, huh? Handheld Game Review channel. Yeah, Mr. Matty, oh my god, there's so many of these. Is this $20 viral handheld worth buying?
Recently, I came across a post about a super cheap device that had a ton of hype. You mean to tell me that I can get a handheld that on paper claims that it can emulate NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and all of the Game Boy systems up to the Advance for less than $20 with free shipping? Take my money. I usually cover a wide range of products on this channel, but it's been a very long time since I've looked at something that is this budget. The poor kid inside me desperately wants a good $20 to $30 handheld to exist, and I'm willing to see if this can fit that role. This is the SF2000 from Datafrog, and if that name doesn't instill the highest degree of confidence, then I don't know what would. My expectations going into this are very low. I think just like a lot of people that bought this based on the rendered images that went up, I've accepted the fact that this could be a cool paperweight at a minimum. I'm a sucker for anything Super Nintendo, and this would be at least a cool thing to add to my shelf. So I'm going to do a review on this, and I'm going to tailor my expectations to a $20 price tag. Let's start with the packaging. This thing comes in a pretty big box for a device that is this small. For reference, here's the RG353P that I gave a favorable review to last year. That device is a little bigger than the SF2000, but the packaging is actually smaller than our new device. Inside the box, we have a set of AV cables and a charging cable. AV cables are not that common on modern cheap chips, so this one is probably using something that is a bit older. In terms of the layout, it's actually pretty decent. Barring the single analog stick that is almost pointless on this device, the rest of the design looks good. It's got a set of big face buttons that fit the original nostalgia, but they've messed up on the buttons themselves. On this, X and A are concave or have a recessed middle area, but I believe that only Y and X have that on the original controller. Let's finish up at the front. We have a big D-pad that appears to be modeled after an SNES controller, and we have a Switch joystick that doesn't have L3 functionality. On the right side, we have a set of rubber or silicone buttons for start and select. That gives this thing 2 more points over the RG353P in terms of executing the nostalgia correctly. Dead center, this device has a 3-inch IPS screen, but this thing does not have OCA applied with a sheet of glass. This uses a plastic front screen with a decent gap.
In here, so we get further
to GBA, it's kind of a crapshoot. Even stuff that appears to be running well actually runs a bit slower than normal. Not only does it run a little slow, but it also has audio glitching that's kind of distracting. There are 762 GBA ROMs on this device, so there are probably a few that will run well, but I don't think this is a system that I would play on this device. Really? After this, we have MAME. This is another system that's going to come down to the games that you're playing. Something like Metal Slug will run very well on this. It slows down in some areas, but it's a lot better than something like GBA. Normal beat-em-up games will also run well on this. This is the only system that I could see myself using this small analog stick for. NES runs very well on this device with the same side-scrolling notice that I gave for the other systems. Games like Adventure Island are a bit too annoying for me to play on this, but The Legend of Zelda is much better. Super Nintendo is crap on this, but it was less crap before I applied the latest software update. At that time, games ran very slow with heavy frame skip applied. Now they run at less than half speed for all titles.
That's not what I want to hear. What do you mean frame loss on this piece of shit? Why would my cell phone not have frame loss? But this thing does. They're the same thing.
Here, take a listen to this
What? They're like not the same thing, but like this thing,
intro.
This thing should not have frame loss. That's the last thing I expected to hear. That's the ripoff that they're on in that fucking market. Are you serious? Fucking frame loss on a crappy Game Boy. The Game Boy didn't have frame loss, you know? The Game Boy didn't have frame loss way back in 1994. Why would we have frame loss in 2024?
Feel free to check out his channel. The link is in the description box. And to wrap things up here, I have an exclusive video I'd like to show you.
What a sad
And it
state.
reflects on this
I think, you know, I keep hearing this word griftonomics, and I think griftonomics is actually fucking perfect for it. I think actually that what we're finding out is most of all of humanity pretty much makes their living off of griftonomics, I think. As sad as it is. I think not all things are legitimate. I think there's a bunch of legitimate jobs out there all over the place. There's really legitimate jobs out there. But I think for every legitimate job, I think there's like 8 illegitimate fucking professions that people do in griftonomics, essentially. From theft of product to theft of IP to theft of, you know, fucking bootleg and all this other shit, low frame rates on console devices and shit. I don't even know. There's no word for that, so I just called it what it was. And like, you know, and it's just like, you know, shortchanging, I guess. It's like shortchanging is God now. So like, you know, their grift is their entire fucking play.
Situation and provides
and so when he started talking about frame loss on a fucking piece of crap $20 Game Boy handheld, I was like, frame loss? Is it a PlayStation 4? I mean, what do you mean frame loss? It's like
a big life update that you can't
It's
miss.
a Game Boy. The Game Boy didn't have frame loss. What are you talking about?
Check it out.
That kind of like you hear this crazy shit. You hear this crazy shit. Just crazy shit. You hear them say crazy shit. And you're like, what are you talking about? Frame loss. The Game Boy didn't have frame loss. How do you go from never having frame loss in the first place to like to like frame loss? How do you degrade no frame loss to frame loss? I mean, even in 1994, the Game Boy worked at whatever its fucking frames were. Totally fine. And I don't remember frame rate lag on a Game Boy game. That's just not something I remember. I don't remember game slogging or anything like that. I remember a couple of busy scenes on intros and stuff that were like a little sloggy. But I don't remember like overall like the gameplay ever slowing down on any Game Boy game that I can think of ever. No frame rate loss, you know? And so like why would you go from never having frame rate loss in 1994 30 years later, it's literally 30, it's not 20, it's 30 years later. 30 years later, here we are. 30 years later, here we are. You're trying to play fucking Game Boy. And you have frame rate loss on your fucking bootleg. And it's like, do the actual handhelds have frame rate loss? Because why did frame rate loss ever even become like a chip on the table? Why was it ever even part of it? Why was it ever even like a part of the equation? It never should have been. It wasn't on the original Game Boy. Why would a remaster console bootleg device that's a fifth of the price of a normal console, why would it have frame rate loss on a game that didn't even have frame rate loss when in its original form? I don't really understand that kind of griftonomics. That's griftonomics. It's essentially taking some piece of crap chip and putting it towards a purpose that it can't do, so that you can sell a product, I guess. And then, you know, but the one thing that it's supposed to do, it can't do. And I call that griftonomics, you know? Playing a Game Boy game is not fucking hard. Like, I hear all the time about fridge, like smart fridges being able to play Doom and stuff like that. If a smart fridge can play Doom, shouldn't your piece of crap $20 knockoff at least get the frame rate for Zelda right? Like, what? Your griftonomics have got out of hand, and you've been stealing too much. You guys have been stealing way too much. You need to actually provide some product now. You've been cutting the dope way too much with that fentanyl and all that shit that you do with the tech and the games and the Starfields of the world. And we kind of need you to, like, you know, need you to stop being a middleman and actually provide some real product now. You know?
Iridocyclitis.
Iridocyclitis has become an iconic meme over the years, with the young man featured in the meme being mocked for his strange appearance and voice. But there's really more than what meets the eye here, because behind this meme lies an inspiring story of self-improvement and humility. From spelling bee champion to living meme icon, this is the story of iridocyclitis kid Dev Jaiswal. Dev Jaiswal is from the town of Louisville, Mississippi. The town has a small population, just over 6,600 people, and is about as unremarkable as any other small town in the American South. Aside from producing a handful of semi-notable college sports coaches, this place isn't known for much. But that would change in the early 2010s when the Indian-American Jaiswal family began to bring accolades to this humble town with their children's academic accomplishments.
Anachronism.
Anachronism. A-N-A
C-H-R-O-O, sorry, O-S-I,
Congratulations.
I-S-M, that. A-N-A, anachronism, A-N-A-C-H-R-O-N-I-S-M. And see, I go too fast.
Yeah. The 2010 Mississippi State Spelling Bee champion. And let's give it up for our second place.
In 2010, Dev's sister, an avid speller,
Antidesestablishmentarianism is the longest fucking word in the English language, which is anti-disestablishmentarianism. Anti-disestablishmentarianism is the longest word in the English language, I believe. The longest word, let's go see. There might have changed by now, but for many years it was anti-disestablishmentarianism, which is my favorite word in the English language. It's also the longest one. The longest word in the English language, right? Is, oh no, we got a new one, right? Pneumonoltramic, pneummonultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Pneumultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis, which has 45 letters. It's a medical term for a lung disease caused by inhaling very fine silica, specifically from a volcano. Sounds about right. Yeah, I knew what it was. I was like, I knew pneumo is going to be some kind of lung disease. Pneumonotromic, pneumono ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Pneumono ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Pneumono ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. microscopic silico-volcanoconiosis. Pneumono ultra 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 microscopic silico-volcanoconiosis. Now, I want to hear the pronunciation. We're going to take this word and let's see how my pronunciation was compared to the AI's pronunciation, right? Pronounce this word. Pneumo now ultra Numenau. Yeah, and it's Numenau. Numenau is a word I've never heard before. You see it? It's Numenau. Numenau is a word I've never heard before. Numenau ultra microscopic silico volcano